All right, here we go. We have a West Coast legend in the building. And this is actually a very full circle moment because the first time I actually picked up a video camera and put it out was with Game.
Yeah,
20 years ago.
Long time ago, man.
The Devil's Advocate.
Doctor's Advocate. You said the Devil's Advocate.
The Devil's Advocate. Too. The Doctor's Advocate was your project, but the
the
mixtape and DVD.
Yeah.
You, me, and New Jersey Devil was the Devil's Advocate. That was the first DVD project I ever put out about whole life, and that set me on a journey that where I am today.
Yeah, I always see you, man. I always give you that virtual pat on your back. You're doing well, man.
Thank you, man. You as well. 20 years later, we're both healthy.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? We're both still alive.
Yeah, a lot of people not. That's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing,
man.
Well, man, I'm glad you're doing well. And this is our first real sit-down interview. We've done things here and there, but this is the first time we're really sitting down seriously and getting the whole story.
Yeah, I mean, well, back then, technically, if you wasn't like Oprah or something, like people wasn't really sitting down doing interviews, especially not in hip hop. We had to catch each other on the streets and, exchange a few, pleasantries on camera and get what we can get because we, everybody was in motion,
Yep. That's a different age now.
Yeah, it's definitely different, man.
Well, I want to start at the very, very beginning. Born and raised in Compton.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, your parents, weren't they both Crips?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me what it was like growing up during that time.
Growing up in Compton in the 80s was, looking back at it, it's kind of crazy. You could, it sort of has like a third world country essence to it if you look back into it because it was so much going on and you didn't really process it because it was just everyday life. So it's like, when I was telling somebody not long ago, I can remember being 7 years old walking like 2 miles to school, in Compton, walking 2 miles to school in the second grade and holding my little sister's hand who was 5 years old. She going to kindergarten, I'm going to second grade. Just the amount of neighborhoods and gang environments we walked through just to get to school every day, was just, crazy. Because like these days as an adult, you can't even make that walk as an adult. But, it was kids doing that. It's still to this day, Compton is like that. It's just is what it is, man. And I mean, seeing, smokers, crackheads, just, and dapping them up and them knowing your name. And I don't know, man, it was just a different time, but it was so much going on. So the violence was there, but you were just accustomed to it because it was what it was. I can remember watching, being in the house watching A-Team or watching cartoons and hearing gunshots ring out and not even flinch. And if you think about it psychologically for a child, that's traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? It should be traumatizing. But when that's what you're accustomed to, it just is what it is. So, my early start was just like that. I was accustomed to seeing, cocaine around the house and, needles in the, in the gutter and just, dead bodies in the streets. I've seen tons of them as a kid and it wasn't no thing.
So how many kids were in the household originally? You and how many siblings?
It was me, my 3 sisters, 2 of my brothers at times because they're, 4 or 5 years older than me. So they was, out in the streets, running the streets. And then my dad, whenever he wasn't in jail, but, mostly my mom's.
Okay. And Big Face, that's your half brother?
Yeah, that's when we got the same dad, different mothers.
Got it. So was he in the house or no?
We grew up together. I mean, it's like his mom and my mom's house and his mom's house. Before I was born, his dad was with his mom, primarily when I was born, and my little sister was born and my dad was with us. But the houses, like I said, wasn't, but shit, I don't know, like not even a mile apart. So he could go, you know how it is when you're a man and you bouncing around doing your thing. Like he was back and forth from house to house. So, yeah, we grew up together because he would be at my house or I would go over there and be at, his house and same thing. So it's kind of like we grew up together under the same roof, if it makes sense, because it's just around the corner,
Now, you ended up in foster care at one point?
Yeah, I ended up in foster care because, my parents got into, a few different, domestic things. And the social workers came in and, deemed it, not, a healthy environment for children. So they took us out when I was in the 3rd or 4th grade. And then I didn't come back. I didn't get released to my mom's till I was probably in like 1st year of high school or something like that.
Wow. Okay. So you get taken out of your home.
Yeah.
And was it your other siblings also got
everybody?
Everybody got put in foster care.
Removed, yeah.
I'm sure that was devastating.
It was devastating, man. It was I can remember looking out the back window as my house got smaller and just crying out, like tears, tears, tears. And I got switched around from foster home to foster home for, like 3 or 4 times before I settled at this one on the outskirts of like Carson, if you're familiar with Carson, California.
Yeah.
And in a neighborhood that was like, predominantly Crips, like the one I was, grew up in, which was Santana Block, same thing. Basically. But yeah, man, being in a foster home, I had a rough start because every day I just thought about how much I missed, I missed being with my mom and, just missed my environment, the things that I was used to, my friends, my school and stuff like that. So I think after the first 6 months, I stopped really crying and I built this wall that I still like got in me today. I hear it a lot from my kids' moms about how tough or brick wall or cold I can be at times. And I just don't have a filter for either pain or sensitivity at times just because I had to stop basically giving a fuck to cope. You get what I'm saying? As a child. And so once I built that wall up, I wasn't I wasn't really looking for my mother to come through the door and pick me up no more. So I thugged it out. It's kind of like, if you were locked up in prison, for the first time. And for the first week, you cried and just couldn't understand why you couldn't get out this cage. But after that, you already know you got to toughen up. You got time, you got a date and it ain't soon. And so you got to just get straight with what's going on and kind of just adapt to it. And so that's what I did as a kid.
I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people that went through the foster care system. And most times there was some level of abuse that happened. Did you go through that?
Abuse as far as like?
Any type of abuse.
Like parental or what?
Well, just, a lot of times these foster parents don't really care about the kids. They're just getting a check.
Abuse in the foster home.
Exactly.
No,
yeah.
I had, once I landed with Auntie Esther, that's what we called her. Mm-hmm. Once I landed with Auntie Esther, man, she treated us all with love and care. And I got lucky that I landed in her home because from the time that I landed there to the time that I, departed, like she was like really like an aunt. And so that's why we called her Auntie Esther. And every child that came through there, she treated with love. And some she even adopted on her own and took in as her own. And she treated us all the same. And so the biggest, I think the biggest thing about being in a foster home was having multi ethnic brothers, right? Foster brothers. Because I go to school and it would be like Paul and Nathan, they were white kids. And then I would have Chris and Calvin, which were, two Spanish kids, two Mexicans. So at home, they was my brothers. So when we went to school and somebody used to say, you got a Mexican brother, you got a white brother, we had to square up and we had to go to toes because, I loved them like they was my brothers. And that's the type of camaraderie and the brotherhood we had in the foster home. We fought like brothers on the inside, but then on the outside, we had to like, stand up and hold each other down. I think only 2 of the 6 of us are alive at this point. Because, once we got into our teenage years, everybody veered off and joined gangs and, you know what I'm saying? So, few of us, got murdered out in the streets and a few of us, like I said, still alive. I think might be just me, Chris and Nathan.
You guys still keep in touch?
Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to Nathan a few days ago. He went through a little, battle with drug addiction and shit like that. But he doing well now. So.
Okay, so then what? Freshman year of high school, you come back home?
Freshman year of high school, I come back home. I think it might have been sophomore year.
Okay.
I come back home. I go straight to Compton High School, predominantly Crip neighborhood. Park Villages, Farm Dogs, Santana Blocks, just, Cripped out the game. My older brother went to Centennial, which is, blood school. That's where Kendrick went. Aaron to follow, niggas like that. And me, I was, going across the tracks and, fucking with my brother and his homies after school, and that was Cedar Block. And so there was always a conflict about me and my Bulls, my starter Bulls pullover or my Dennis Rodman jersey and whatever it was at school. But, obviously I made it out alive and I, went through a lot of hardships. But at the end of the day, I held mines. I played basketball. I was just, like I said, I was gang banging and I did it all. Like it was just all in the gumbo pot. And, but that was just Compton,
Okay, so when did you become a Blood exactly?
I want to say I became a blood. Well, my brother became a blood because that was who I looked up to, and that's who I basically pattern myself and my lifestyle after. And I don't, when I say my brother, I don't even mean big face. I mean, my brother Derek is from Crenshaw Mafia. So, he would come pick us up because my pops would always say, you got to go bond with your brother. And so he'd come pick me up, take me on the show. I'll be, I don't know, little as shit, man, 5 and 6 years old on Crenshaw, watching all this gang activity. But, and that brother is, a little bit more older than my other brother. He's like 10 years older than me. So, when he was 16 and 17 and I was 6 and 7 years old, like he was, driving BMWs and, he had all, 3 and 4 cars. And at that point, at that time, for him to be, now that I look at it, a 16-year-old, I have a 16-year-old who can barely drive, who doesn't have a car yet because he'd rather play video games than go and get his, his driver's license. And he will. But when I compare my 16-year-old to the 16-year-old brother that I had raising me, it was just a totally different world back then. And it was just crazy. But that was my role model. He was like Superman to me. And then my brother Face, followed, after him, not, right after him, but, he was getting down, with Cedar Block. And so that's where it was. That's where it was for me. That was home for me.
Okay. So you're going to Compton High School and you're claiming blood. And was Compton High School mostly Crip or was it mixed?
It was like 5 Bloods. Most of them.
And everyone else was Crip?
Most of them hidden, yeah.
Okay. So what was the most serious situation you were getting into during that time?
Well, see, the thing about Compton is this. It's like, no matter who joins what gang, like we pretty much all went to elementary school and middle school together, right? Yeah. So it's like, we know each other. So some niggas that went the Crip route that was hard was a kid in 3rd grade that you was taking his motherfucking lunch money. So it's like, when we become teenagers, it's like, nah, I ain't going for that. So it would take a group of them niggas to really press the issue, or catch you slipping, you know what I'm saying? So, it was, everybody knew me. I was JC, you know what I'm saying? So everybody knew me. We grew up together. We grew up hooping at the park, whatever. So, it was just personal, personal shit. And so you really only had murderous or killing intent with niggas that you really didn't grow up with or you really didn't know. But if you grew up with somebody and you was blood and it was Crip, it was always that childhood love that you just couldn't really overstep or violate. So a lot of niggas that are living today got passes because of, we just went different routes, and that is what it is what it is or was what it was. But a nigga you didn't know was just a nigga you didn't know. And then nobody give a fuck about a nigga they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's when it was up.
Okay, so during this time, during high school, were you getting in trouble, getting arrested at all? Or were you just mostly just focused on school and basketball?
So I went to jail twice as a teenager. And the other times I think I just got lucky and slid through without detection. I think that for me, I was known as like the intelligent gangster. You know what I'm saying? I always thought out every mission. I always thought out everything that I did. I thought out, selling drugs and the way that I would, distribute, or the way that I would run with homies. If we was going to go get at somebody, it would be all me on the strategic side, making sure that everybody got in and they got out alive. So I was just, I just went under the radar for most of the, the heinous shit that I participated in. And then I went to jail for like stealing the car in the 11th grade. And I ended up going to the county. That was my first time in the county. And that motherfucker was a rude awakening for me, because straight off the bat, you either go in the general population or you get segregated in the gang module. And at that point, I had no gang tattoos yet. So I was able to slide straight in the gen pop, which is smooth because, you ain't isolated from everybody and you can kind of just be a chameleon, you know what I'm saying? Blend in. So that was my first time. Now, the second time I went back was like a year later, still in the same, still in high school. Went back like almost, 8 or 9 months later. And I was then I was banging and I had tattoos. And so, they break you down, they look at your test, they ask you where you from. So most times they know where you from. And then they put you with, they put you with the Bloods. And even that, you know what I'm saying? Like it be drama in there sometimes. So 5400 block Denver Row, that's where I ended up. And sometimes you just gotta catch phase with your own homies for, miscellaneous shit that happened on the outside, or if when you went to Gen Pop last time, but you was in a gang and you wasn't with the homies, just all kind of different shit. So when I was on 5400, that was that was general population. And then, when I went back and I was in the gang module, it was a whole different situation. It was cool to be with the homies, but then sometimes it wasn't if you had like, just inner gang issues and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but the county, I know a lot of people say I've never been to the federal penitentiary in my life. But from what I heard and what I know, like, I don't know, man, the county jail in LA, the Twin Towers it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, homie. It's not no joke in there. And just like any other prison in the world, you could definitely lose your life in there. A lot of niggas get transferred to Wayside, and that might be bull for them, but some niggas don't. And you gotta, they call it, you do your county leg. You're supposed to only be in the county jail for a year, but sometimes niggas be in there for 2 and 3. And yeah, you get washed in there too.
Okay, so you graduate high school and you go to a couple different community colleges.
Yeah.
Were you trying to play basketball at that point?
Trying to play basketball, trying to figure it out, man. I was, the lure of gangbanging was always something that was like, I don't know, dear to me. That might be, weird to say, but gangbanging was always like first for me, because it's just, I don't know, it was tough. It was hard for me. I liked it. I really loved it, and it was all that I knew. Basketball was my favorite thing to do, though. So and I of course, my basketball history, Drew League, not the fighting ones, man. The actual dribbling the ball and putting it in the hole. Always had a love for basketball, man. So I tried until it was just evidently clear that wasn't the path for me, and then that's when I started doing my rap thing.
Okay, so by 2001, you were deep in the streets, and then a shooting happened.
Yeah.
Tell me about the situation.
2001, man. We again, like I told you a minute ago, I was usually the strategic one. Inherited that way of being in the streets from my older brother Face. He was OD with being careful. He had rules and regulations that that we must follow inside the trap, and when selling dope, and just hustling in general. And so one of the first rule was just never to sell after midnight, because it just ain't that important. We get as much off as we can during the day. At midnight we shut down operation. Everybody get a good night's rest, and we back up at the first knock. You know what I'm saying? In the morning when the sun come up, for obvious reasons. Like after midnight, is when niggas get to plotting. Niggas is tired. Niggas is not really up on their P's and Q's. So I was greedy this one night, and it was a knock on the door. I was playing Madden, and I just happened to be there by myself. Everybody that was normally in the trap was just out. You know what I'm saying? So my brother was at his baby mama house. My other homie Vale, rest in peace, Vito. He was out too, fucking off with a chick or some shit, and I was there by myself just playing Madden. I heard a knock on the door, and I looked through the peephole, and it was this corny ass square nigga that always come through. And he get some trees, and he get a little something else, and then he dip. So when I looked through the door, I could see it's him. So I'm like, I'll serve this nigga, and then I'm gonna just kill it after this. But let me make this little 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 if he want an 8-ball or something like that. So I opened the door. As soon as I opened the door, 2 other niggas came behind him with guns drawn. And it sort of like blew me back off the door. I didn't fall down, but I had my 45 or my Glock. Can't remember which one it was, but it was on the kitchen table. And one of the niggas seen it, and he went for it, and I went for it, and we had a struggle for it that ended where we ended up tussling on the ground, and I started to really get the edge on him in the tussle and retrieve the gun from him. But he he felt it coming, and so his finger was around the trigger of it. So he pulled the trigger, and then I got shot in the chest. Got up, I flew back, not knowing that I was shot, and I started running down the hallway to get my shotgun, my sawed off from the back room, and he shot twice more, and I got shot in the ankle, and then I got shot in the stomach too. And then I thought he was gonna come up and just, give me the dome shot or the kill shot. So I just closed my eyes and I was like, I really told myself, like literally told myself, I was like, damn, so this is it. But I wasn't scared of nothing. I wasn't scared. I didn't have no fear. I didn't feel like I was gonna miss nothing. I didn't have no children yet, so I didn't really have nothing to hold on to. Me and my mom's relationship was strained. Me and my pop's relationship was strained. And so all I had was a few little chicks and my little sidekick that I probably was gonna miss. But other than that, I was about to say my peace with God and just, I didn't expect to make it out of that. Closed my eyes. By the time I opened them, they was gone. And I guess he thought he killed me. And so they was gone. I remember crawling to the bathroom floor and somehow getting my Motorola flip phone with the chirp off my hip. And I called 911 for myself and just told them I was shot. And they sent the ambulance and then I passed out and I didn't wake up for like a few weeks.
Okay, this is the first time you ever got shot?
Yeah.
The guys who did it, I mean, did you know who they were? I mean, you knew the guy that was coming by, but the other two guys?
Nah, I never seen them in my life.
Okay. When you did wake up, was there a level of rage and anger and revenge and like, I can't believe these motherfuckers just shot me?
Nah.
No?
When I woke up, I felt like I hadn't even been asleep before like the night that it happened, but it ended up being like a few weeks later.
So
and
you were in a coma for weeks?
Yeah, for like 3 weeks.
So you could have easily died that night?
Should have died that night, could have died that night, and didn't give a fuck if I died that night, to be honest. I just didn't care. And that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the conversation. It's like, when you're a child and you're being brought up in these situations, you're accustomed to the lifestyle and you know what it is. Like everybody that gangbang know what it is unless you go and get somebody that is like, I don't know, has issues, underlying issues with their health or something, or, mental, their mental state when they're younger. But other than that, anybody that is functioning normal as a child and or as a teenager and you join a gang, that with that comes jail, death, or a slippery slope that you may survive. So when it was time for me to, potentially like be out of here, I didn't give a fuck.
I mean, isn't it crazy now when you think about it? Because you have kids that are approaching this age.
Right.
And they were totally sheltered because dad has money and they don't have to grow up in this type of environment. They have no idea what it's like to not give a fuck that you live or die or dealing with guns, drugs. Like, they have a totally different life than you. Does that bring you a certain level of pride that they didn't have to go through what you went through?
It brings me a level of pride, but it does. It brings a tremendous level of pride, right? Like, I can't thank myself enough. Like, I have a kid in college right now in his third year. He's a junior, my firstborn. He's on the cover of the documentary. Now he in college saying, which is crazy. Like, he just hit me daily. Like, yo, dad, I need money for groceries. Dad, my rent due. Dad, tuition. It's like that. And so I think that's cool. That's why I'm smiling now, because I think that's cool. I look at him and I'll be like, oh, boy, you don't have no idea, which is crazy because he does have some idea because he was 3 and 4 and 5 when I was still in it. And so it's my younger children that don't have no idea about what's going on. And I think that that's cool.
Yeah.
The part about it that I don't, it's a small part, but it's a small part of it that I don't like is that this generation, my kids included, they so soft, man. Like, they soft as hell, man. It's like everything hurt. Everything is paining them. Everything is like, what my son told me a few weeks ago, told me he was depressed about something. And I'm like, man, what you depressed about? He like, I'm trying to juggle football with my classes. I want to, the new 2K just came out. I just can't figure out how to do it all. And I'm just like, hey,
I wish I had your problems at your age.
I'm like, look, man. Well, let's do it like this. how bad you want to play football? He like, I want to play football. And I was like, school is, you have to do well at school. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, maybe you need to fall back on the video games. And so I let him govern himself accordingly. I'm like, look, give yourself a time to play and a time that, you just know that you have to do other things, and then grant yourself an adequate amount of sleep per night. And then let's revisit this in a week. We did it. And then we talked again in the week, and now I'm all good, Dad, I'm good. And I'm like, these are the conversations that we need to have with our children before TikTok gets in this suicidal, and this is a serious thing.
Yep.
These kids getting depressed and this emo music and them going on TikTok, and then next thing you know, your kid has hung himself in a room or shot himself because they can't figure out how to compartmentalize everything that they're going through. We didn't have nobody to run to. Your mom would just tell you, shut the fuck up and go upstairs. And that was it. Or you on punishment, or take everything out your room, and you just had to deal with it. You couldn't pull out your phone and Google self-help or where do I go for this or where do I go for that. The internet has these kids in a whirlwind, man. And it's just making everybody so soft. And they got all these groups out here. Like, you can't, if you look at an owl wrong, it's like special owl group. They come and they're like, you can't look at the owl like this because we're the owl group. And if you got there's a concrete ant group, it's just all these different groups of people. So everything is so sensitive these days, man, that it's just, the world is just crazy, man. I feel like we on the verge, man.
Okay, so you're recovering in the hospital from the gunshot wounds. Up until this point, had you ever considered rapping?
I was dabbling with rap, and the major point of the early stages of my rap career was 106 in Park. Just sitting in the dope spot, waiting for the next knock on the door and watching 106 in Park. I look forward to that because it was just cool. The videos come on, and if you enjoy any type of hip hop, you was gonna see what was number one, whether it was Jay-Z Big Pimpin' or Ja Rule Holla, all of that stuff was just as enticing as gangbanging was for me. So I really started to get into it. And in the beginning, man, it was rough because, the hip, the hop, the hip, where do you start when you start your rap career, right? If you don't have a natural talent for it. And I don't think that I had a natural talent for it. I think that my childhood traumas, my story, my life, and then my knowledge of dope hip hop artists is what carried me through the early stages of my career. So yeah, I started around that time.
Okay, so was it in the hospital bed that you started kind of formulating this plan to become a rapper?
It was while I was asleep, comatose, that when I woke up, I kind of knew how to arrange rap records a little bit.
Okay, now your name, The Game, I actually just found this out recently, is based on the movie The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn.
Nah.
No?
Nah, but I seen The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn.
Because I'd read that your grandmother, was a big fan of that movie, and that's kind of how you came up with the name.
My grandmother was from Texas, so I played video games a lot when I was younger. So she would just be like, I was also good at basketball and football. I ran track and did all that. So she would just be like, it's a Texas saying. She would just be like, that boy is just game for anything. So it went from her, just saying, I'm going to call you Little Game. When I wasn't little, then it was just Game. You know what I'm saying? And so when it came time to choose a rap name, I had all these ridiculous ass rap names. And my sister was just like, why don't you just use your regular nickname? And I was like, what? She was like, Game. She was like, put Mr. or The with it. And I was like, Mr. Game. It sounded like a porn star. And she was like, well, use The, right?
Okay.
And she was like, The Game, the wrestler, whatever, Triple H. She like The Game. I'm like, she was like, you game, The Game, it works. And so I'm like, all right, The Game. Triple H tried to sue me or some shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy shit, man.
Okay, so now you're The Game.
Right. No, I've been The Game.
Right. But you're officially
The
yeah. Game. And you put together your first mixtape. You Know What It Is, Volume 1.
Yeah.
Big Face was involved in this also?
You Know What It Is, Volume 1. Loosely. He was involved with it loosely. It's more so on a support level than just involved. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that might have been, that was like me and Ski or me and New Jersey Devil, or I can't remember who did that tape. Or no, I think it was me and DJ. I can't remember his name, bro, but I don't think it was Ski or Devil.
Ski came later, I think.
Yeah, I think it was DJ. Damn, I can't forget his name, but he was dope, man. I can see his face. I just can't remember his name. But yeah, you know what it is, Volume 1. I just went and recorded that. And DJ Ray. DJ Ray, man. DJ Ray is a good dude, man. He let me use his studio and like record my shit in that mixtape. It was hard. And I can remember when I did that mixtape, I was signed to Aftermath. And Dre was telling me don't do mixtapes.
Okay, wait. So this happened after Aftermath? You know what it is, Volume 1?
I had a deal. Yeah, I had a deal.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me figure this out then. Because before Aftermath, you had gotten with JT the Bigger Figure.
Yeah, before.
Yeah, it was. So quick. Was that mixtape?
That was damn. What was the name of that? It was more so my demo.
Okay, so the demo that came together.
The demo was me working with JT the Bigger Figure and Sean T in the Bay. And
the producer. Yeah. Okay, so you put together this demo with JT on Get Low Records. Mm-hmm. Did you sign with him at that point, or was it just some homie shit?
Nah, it was just some old handshake shit, street shit.
Okay. And before you got with Dre, wasn't Puffy interested in working with you also?
Yeah, Puff. I was running around with Puff for a minute, but we was just partying, man. Puff liked to party. So that's basically all we did. I think the few times I was running around with D-Mac and Puff, we just did a bunch of partying. We might have went to the studio once or twice, but I didn't get to record nothing. I was just,
Okay, but I mean, Puffy was a huge deal back then.
Still a huge deal.
I mean, he's still a huge deal, but he's not doing music anymore, is what I'm saying. Back then, Bad Boy was on fire, and he's running around with you. And, Puffy's a busy guy.
I was running around with him.
Yeah. You were running around with him.
Right.
Was he talking about signing you, or what exactly happened?
Nah, Puff he wanted to sign me. He just, he was moving around. Like he had the restaurant Justin's in Atlanta, so we was in and out of that. A lot of parties in Atlanta with him and V and, Big Wolf and, Fab and Jeezy was just, Fab was already on. Jeezy was coming, coming of age. But we just party, man. And then when I told Puff, I was like, yo, Dre is interested in signing me. He was like, go ahead, Playboy. That's where you belong anyway. He was like, man, he was like, that makes sense. And contractually, I didn't have nothing with Diddy anyway. It was just always, I could whenever we slow down and whatever. But he definitely would have. He never say that like, I regret that I didn't do it or nothing. He said, you belong with Dre, and I'm glad that that's the move you made.
Okay, because you also had this other mixtape, QB to Compton.
Yeah, QB to Compton. I can't remember who did that tape.
Was it Get Low Records that put that out, or?
Yeah. So I didn't have nothing to do with that. That was just JT the Bigger Figure doing what JT the Bigger Figure do.
Together,
he just slapped me with Nas and was like, yo, I'm going to put this.
Oh, so he put you in, that's why it's called QB to Compton, because it was Nas and Game?
I had never even met Nas yet or recorded with Nas. But I mean, that's
some Bay shit. I'm from the Bay. I know what that's like.
But you know what? It made his rounds, man. And people really fuck with that. So I mean, I think he took the songs that I didn't use, in the demo and sort of put it together with Nas and he put that out. But like, yeah, people fuck with it. That's why it was so reminiscent to me when you said it. I was like, but I got so much musical content that I'll be forgetting what's what sometimes.
Okay, so you and JT are rocking together and you're putting out these demos and these projects. And at one point, it gets on Dre's radar.
Right.
So did he send Mike Lynn to your block at one point?
Yeah, Mike Lynn came to the block and he was looking for game. And at that time when you came to, Cedar Block, man, we was at war. We was at war with, the T-Flats. We was at war with, a few different Crip gangs. So we had the block sold up. I mean, it was like some old Nino Carter type shit. Because you couldn't even get on the block without getting drew down on, rolling your window down and saying who you was coming to see. Plus, it was a dead end. And every nigga on the block was strapped up. Eventually, we ended up getting raided and whatnot. And but yeah, man, we had a stronghold on that block and that whole little area at that time. Okay,
so Mike Lynn comes by looking for you. And did he actually talk to you that time?
No, he didn't talk to me that time.
Okay. And I remember I've been on that block.
Right.
And I remember even like, if we fast forward to like the mixtape, remember I got the mixtape sponsored by Royal Blunts.
Yeah.
Right? And then Royal Blunts sent all these packages to your house, essentially. Yeah. And I remember like New Jersey Devil and some of the other, homies from the block were like, yo, thank you so much, Vlad, because we'd be risking our lives going to the corner store
just walking across the street
to get some blunts. Mm-hmm. Literally risking lives
every day,
getting shot. And the fact that they had all these blunts for free almost like saved people's lives in a way.
Nah, it did, man. It did. Y'all did that, man. You just out there doing God's work. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. No, but I remember, that block was definitely dicey. And, I couldn't have just, I was there with New Jersey Devil. I was escorted into there, but I wouldn't have just rolled up solo. That would have been crazy.
Back then, man, that wasn't even an option. Yeah. Like you would have never even been able to turn the corner.
Yeah, because it's what, like, was it 6 houses with a dead end at the end, or 8 houses?
Yeah, it's three on each side.
Yeah, right. I remember. Okay, so did Mike Lynn come back and then find you eventually?
Yeah, Mike Lynn came back and we talked, and at that point, he took me to Encore Studios in Burbank, which was basically Aftermath headquarters at that point in time, and I just walked in on one of those days where everything was going on, man, because you had, 50 was in the room. They was working on In the Club, which at that point in time, In the Club was the first time the beat for In the Club was originally supposed to be for Rakim.
Okay.
But, I don't know what happened with that, but you see that, what 50 did with it. So it definitely belonged in the hands, in his hands, because, In the Club is In the Club. But Busta Rhymes was there, Eve was there, Rakim was recording. It was just Nate Dogg was there. It was just a lot of shit going on, and I was just like a kid at an amusement park for the first time. Like I was just expecting to come and see Dr. Dre, which was gonna be, mind blowing as it is. But I got to see Snoop. That was my second time seeing Snoop in my life, which was dope. And then meeting Busta Rhymes for the first time, me and him, we clicked instantly. It was just a genuine, big brother, little brother thing with me and him is still existing to this day. He calls me borderline disrespectful. He says, I do the most disrespectful shit ever known to man, but I get right to the line and then I just stay right there. I never go to the point where it could get me 25 to life or something. So he always says that I stop. But yeah, that was Aftermath in those days.
Being from the West Coast like me and you, meeting Dr. Dre
was fucking life-changing.
Yeah. You'd be hard-pressed to find a lot of artists on the West Coast that didn't come from that Dr. Dre family tree.
Yeah.
It all really comes from him.
I think everything on the West, outside of, I want to say YG.
YG, yeah.
YG,
that's the only one.
And I give him, all his flowers for being able to just, rise to the occasion and become the type of West Coast hip hop nigga that he is from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? Just building his, 400 thing from the ground up, because everything else did come from Dr. Dre. But,
exactly.
Mustard, YG, Ty Dolla $ign, they did their thing. And I was here to watch the rise. Also Nip, you know what I'm saying?
Nipsey as well. Yeah.
Nip came up, self-made too. I had a hand in that with, I was there, Steve Lobel, Wack, like we was all there. And so we watched Nipsey go from that, that island in the middle of the street and, over there hustling in his strip mall, from the incense to the mixtapes to being, world renowned and now being, the Nipsey Hussle that we know and that we knew.
Okay, so you meet Dre. Did he offer you a record deal right then and there?
Pretty much. Once he one thing about Dre is that he know when the shit is gonna be a hit. He know when it's not gonna be a hit. He know when it ain't no artist development that needs to happen before he knows if you're gonna be a superstar or not. He don't make no mistakes like that. It's just because he fine-tuned and his ear and his skill set is geared towards greatness. And so he don't tolerate nothing else, not even in his mind state. So if Dre brings you, he know. So he already knew.
Okay, so you meet Dre and then you sign Aftermath Interscope.
Right.
How big of a deal was that? To come from where you come from, to sign with the greatest producer of all time, who's based on the West Coast.
Right.
Coming from Compton, going through all the foster care and the shootings and the gangs and the drugs, and now here is this light at the end of the tunnel?
It was amazing, man, because I always looked up to Dre as not like the father I didn't have, because I had one, and I had a good one, a shitty one, a hood one, an intellectual one. My dad was a man of many hats, and I love him to death, even in death. But Dre was like a super big brother to me, you know what I'm saying? And man, to be signed to Dr. Dre at that time was pretty huge, but I also felt like I deserved to be. Because it wasn't nobody on the West that was bigger than me. It wasn't nobody on the West that was gonna be bigger than me. And to this day, not to slight anybody, I'm the biggest West Coast artist, period. And I'm talking about, not to cut you off, but I'm talking about from 2003 all the way to now. I'm here. I'm alive. My discography is in the tens of albums, and ain't nobody can out-rap me still to this day. So
I just want to say, during that time, it was a very interesting time for the West Coast, because Death Row had its run, but it was kind of fading off at that point.
Yeah.
All the drama, Pac had died, Snoop left, everyone from Death Row left. It was basically a shell of a label at that point. Because were you talking to Suge at all about joining Death Row during this time?
I was running around with Suge and Eastwood and my homeboy Sonic for about 2 months, and I figured out this wasn't the place for me.
Yeah, there was really nothing there. It was just a shell of a company at that
point. I went to the studio a few times, and it was Eastwood in there doing his thing. That's like my brother. So, he was, he's still one of the dopest West Coast artists. You had Crooked Eye, who was in there too. And to be honest, I mean, I got number love for Crooked Eye. He one of the dopest niggas, period, on the West. He one of them underdogs too. But at that point in time, I didn't feel like Crooked Eye could out-rap me. I didn't feel like Crooked Eye was better than me. I felt like I was a fan of Crooked Eye, and I was in a dope spot banging Crooked Eye. I was in a dope spot banging Eastwood. I remember they came out with I don't know if it was a double XL or the Source cover, where they had Left Eye on there with Suge and Crooked Eye and Eastwood, and I just felt like I should be on there. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was the competitive, nature of West Coast, young West Coast niggas back then. So we went to the studio a few times, and I watched Crooked Eye do his thing, murder some shit. I watched Eastwood do his thing and kill some shit, but I just felt like I belonged on records. And so I stopped fucking with them. And then I started running with Diddy a little bit, and then Diddy, sort of pushed me over to Dre once Dre was ready to sign me, and then, that's where things went.
Okay, so now you're signed to Aftermath as a solo artist.
Right.
Who made the decision to put you with G-Unit?
Jimmy Iovine.
Okay, that was his choice.
Yeah, it was his choice because they had Young Buck, he is from the South, so they had that covered. They had Yayo, 50, and Lloyd Banks, they were from the East, so they had that covered. They was missing a West Coast presence. Not that 50's music didn't carry on the West Coast, but it would only add if they added the most dominant West Coast rapper at the time, up and coming rapper at the time, and that was me. So it just made sense for all parties. So Jimmy Iovine came up with the idea. 50, of course, was down with it because he just, is a helpful nigga at times. And Dre stamped it, and I was down with it because, at that time, 50 was doing, super numbers, and I felt like it could only help boost my career, so I was down for, joining in.
Okay, so now you're part of G-Unit, and your first appearance was in the club music video.
Yeah.
Which was, that put 50 into the stratosphere.
Right.
At that point. What was it like being in that music video, and now you're actually part of this whole movement?
It was cool being in the video because that was like the first video, real rap video that I was in. And, like you said, in the club was, when shit, 20, double diamond by now.
Right.
But that was the biggest song in the world. So being in that video was remarkable. I think the most upsetting thing about it was that was my first experience where video bitches and shit was fake. And niggas say cut and the shit is a whole production. I thought when I watched and I always say Big Pimpin' video because it was Gloria Velez for me. Like she had these titties that just wouldn't stop tittying, and she was beautiful. And so I was like, and we're still friends to this day. I talk to Gloria all the time. And but she was just in that video, and I was just like, I gotta get me a bitch like that. Like that was she was one of the reasons I wanted to be a rapper so bad because
Gloria Velez. Okay.
Gloria Velez, man. And so I was like, I gotta get a bitch like that. I need a bad bitch. Like I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna get a bad bitch like that. We're gonna have some bad bitch kids, and I'm gonna have a badass life, right? So when I did the In the Club video, And they was like, this is the casting, these models were casted, and you can't just get at them like this or that, and they're here to work. And like, when somebody told me that the models was here to work and I need to like wait until after the video, I was like, the fuck you mean, homie? Like, I'm getting at this bitch, like, and so that part of it was the Wizard of Oz shit. Like, I really didn't understand it. And so at that point, I didn't understand a lot of shit that was going on in the industry. I was young. I wasn't used to it. I didn't know that it was actually real entertainment because Tupac and Biggie had really met their demises beefing with each other. So I thought that shit was 100% real. And it was, because they're no longer here. Mm-hmm. But I thought throughout the industry that everything was 100% authentic. But I learned very fast that the shit was a fucking circus of the entertainment industry, man.
Okay, so now you're part of G Unit. You're signed to Aftermath, Interscope, and G Unit is putting out mixtapes like crazy at this point. And the All Eyes on Us mixtape, you show up on the cover. Mm-hmm. So now you're officially visually. I mean, you're in being in a video is one thing, but being on an official mixtape cover is something else.
Yeah.
What was that like to be part of the hottest crew in the world at that point?
It was cool. I appreciated the the step up on the ladder. I always felt like if I didn't sign, I didn't sign with G Unit. I was never signed to G Unit.
Yeah.
But I always felt like if I never got put in G Unit or Dr. Dre never signed me to Aftermath, I would still be sitting here talking to you with the same track record, because I'm the type of nigga, like, if I put my mind to something and I say this is what I want to do, like, that is just simply what I'm going to do. I'm going to achieve it. I can tell you right now, sitting in this chair, that I'm going to go do something amazing in 6 months. And I promise you in 6 months it'll be done, because that's just how I am. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm one of them anything is possible niggas, because I understand the process of life, and that if you really want to get it done, you just simply go get it done. So it was cool being in G Unit, but then it wasn't, because I felt like we was just in it. I felt like 50 was making the money and we was just in G Unit, you know what I'm saying? Which is cool, because I'm saying he 50, but I wanted to like get some bread, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely wanted to like just be a solo artist and like get to it, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciated the pit stop, but yeah, I don't think that I needed G Unit to be game, you know what I'm saying? And G Unit was dope, and 50 was dope, and that experience was dope, but I just don't feel like I ever really fit, or that it was just me, because I'm not like the soldier type. Like, I felt like I was my own boss and I'm a king in my own right, and so I needed to stand on my own too. So
now, was it about that time that Jimmy Henchman became your manager?
Jimmy Henchman became my manager about the same time. Yeah. And so, Jimmy came to me and he was like, he came through my homie D-Mac, who, helped me out, and was the sub company to, Aftermath with his Desperado, company, him and K-Dog in the early stages of my career. He came to me with Jimmy. He was like, yo, Jimmy, want to manage you. At first, I didn't even know this was the Jimmy Henchman that, Pac was talking about in the records, or just based off of that, I might not have did it just because Pac was, had niggas' minds going crazy. Like, you was down with Pac, fuck everybody, right? Fuck this as a staff, record label, and as a motherfucking crew. If you down with, fuck you too. So it was Pac. That's how Pac had niggas on the West. But I didn't know that was the Jimmy Henchman. And so I just said, cool. Cool. Seemed like I met him. He seemed like a super cool dude. So Jimmy Henchman was he was a cool dude. So I just let him run point in the situation. And to this day, man, I can't say personally, and this is not like, I really can't say personally that I ever met the Jimmy Henchman that everybody was afraid of or feared, or the one that they say did this or that. I never met that Jimmy Henchman. I've only met a stand-up fucking guy, a family man, and I swear it could be on a Bible, it could be on any type of God, religion. I've just never met that Jimmy Henchman. I think Jimmy Henchman has seen more of the demonic, uncontrollable game that I've seen any street in Jimmy Henchman, man. I just always seen a super fucking amazing father, cool ass dude. And you see what Lil Henchman's doing now. It's like,
yeah, I mean, I know Jimmy. I've interviewed him before. We've had conversations. I've always had a respectful,
mild-mannered.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I remember the first time I met him, I'm like, this is the Jimmy Henchman that everyone's scared of.
Right.
Like, he's not very tall. He's not all muscular.
Yeah.
He's kind of like he blends in, really.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys ever have a Tupac conversation, you and Jimmy?
We had a Tupac conversation.
How did that go?
It's funny, man, and I hope Jimmy don't want to head up fade because I'm talking about this, but I feel like that's my brother. I love him to death. I really feel like in my soul of souls that he gonna get some of his time knocked off in the end, and he gonna be able to come home and continue being a father and being who he really is at heart. And I hope that happens for him. But I had because Pac was saying that, Jimmy Henchman and Haitian Jack set him up in New York on the elevator, got him shot.
Right.
Well, the story is that they were going to, address Pac about some shit that he was saying and shit that he was doing on record and off record in the streets. And that, they did, have what they needed to, go address the situation in case they needed to defend themselves. But Pac also had a gun on him and needed to defend himself. And that when the elevator opened, they saw Pac, but they weren't ready they didn't have anything drawn out. But Pac had a gun in his waist and he was gonna pull it and he shot himself in the leg on the elevator. And then he went to the hospital and, for the leg wound, and maybe he was embarrassed. And again, I was not there and I don't know what happened. This is just a story that was, transcribed to me. But Pac shot himself and was embarrassed of that. So he wrapped his head up and he wrapped his arm up. And when he came out of the hospital, I think he was in a wheelchair, right? It was at the same time.
No, but he had gun wounds on his body as well. It wasn't just the leg.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I remember interviewing John B, and he was talking about how he was in the studio with Pac after he got shot, and the wounds were relatively fresh.
He had his shirt off in the session, and I could see the bullet holes. You know what I mean? The scars. And it's intense when you see someone's bullet holes. It kind of puts it into perspective. It's not like tattoos.
Yeah.
It's like where the flesh is. You know what I mean? It's like flares out like that, like in lines. And it's like pretty intense. And he had like 6 or something like that, or whatever it was, on his chest.
And you could see the skin kind of.
How many times did Pac get shot? Was that
5 times?
No. Occasions.
Oh,
twice.
Yeah.
So once that time, and then once when he
Vegas,
met his demise.
Yeah.
So then I don't know. Maybe it wasn't true, or maybe Pac shot himself and they pulled out, and I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I just don't know. That's the only conversation that I had about that I had about Tupac with Jimmy. But again, these are just, stories, and I don't know what's real and what's not. Right. I was like 15 years old, man. So, okay. And I told you how my testament to Jimmy's character and whatnot. And of course, man, Tupac is, at the top of the top for me. So again, man, I find myself, caught in the middle, conflicted, because I didn't know Jimmy when Tupac was alive, and I never met Pac. So I only know what I know, and I only could just vouch and get down with who I, personally have relationships with.
Okay. So I remember during that time, even though you didn't have, your own music out, your own single wasn't out, but you were getting hot. And was it around that time, like, you appeared in a big ad for Sean John?
Yeah.
Like Boost Mobile did a commercial with you and Kanye and Ludacris.
Yeah.
So it's like you're on a roller coaster at this point.
Right.
How did that feel during that time?
I think for me, we're gonna keep running into this dead end of how I felt at different times during the early stages of my career, because I just felt like it was for me and I deserved all of it. I felt like, without the Boost Mobile, without the Sean John ad, that I was destined to be king of the West Coast, and I was going to run it, for all that time. And I did. I just feel like, and again, I don't want to slight any of my experiences or anybody, helping me along the way, but I just know that I was destined to be great in hip hop. And so, yeah, man, it felt good though. It felt great to be acknowledged. It felt good to, coexist with Ye and Ludacris and do something with Diddy after all, even though it wasn't musically. So, just organically, it felt and it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being in Manhattan and seeing a big, huge billboard of you for Sean John. It was like, oh shit, like, all right. you know? And I just want to point out that during this time, it was like the West Coast was just really just kind of quiet.
Yeah.
You know, the spotlight was on the South. The spotlight was still in New York. You know, I think Nelly was probably popping during this time.
Right.
So the West Coast was quiet and everyone was looking at Game like, okay, this might be the dude that really brings it back.
Yeah.
Especially someone like me who was a West Coast guy.
Yeah. I mean, but see, for me, I knew I was the dude. Yeah. I knew that. And see, all this shit, remember I told you not a long time ago, but a minute ago in the beginning of the interview, how strategic I am when planning and plotting out shit. Before I met Dre, before I recorded my first song, I told myself that, okay, all right, Snoop is legendary at this point, right? Yeah. But he, after, Pac's death, he was kind of cool and he went to No Limit for a minute. He came back and he was just chilling, but he was already iconic. Dr. Dre was already iconic. These niggas are already on the Mount Rushmore of the West Coast. So I felt like, with Tupac's untimely demise, that there was a window for me. Mm-hmm. There was a window for me. And if I got myself in hip hop inside this window, that I would have it for 10 years, for sure. Because these artists only come around every, 10 years. And I mean, when I say artists, I'm not even gonna say artists, I'm gonna say that guy, right? And if you look at it, it transcends to everything. It's like, if you look at Michael Jordan, then you look at when Kobe came in, then you look at when LeBron came in. Mm-hmm. And I don't care, there's a million basketball players in the world, and there's hundreds in the NBA. But there's literally only one LeBron. And when I'm talking about like that type of guy, that type of player, it's GOAT status shit. And so before that, it was Kobe. Before that was Mike. And I don't know who's going to be the next guy to be that type of guy, that like LeBron is. So it's like, a four-headed dragon. But for the West Coast, it was like, okay, you got Dre. Okay, you got Snoop. And okay, you had Pac. Well, now it's Game's time. And then after me, boom, you got Kendrick. And then, YG came up. And now you got all these artists, but we just don't know who's going to be the next one. Like right now, it's just Kendrick. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's only Kendrick doing music.
But he's the main guy from LA, from the West Coast.
Look
that's
at the
totally
West Coast.
Dominating. When he drops, everyone's quiet and listens to Kendrick's new album.
And I like to say that that's my little brother, and I had a small hand in lifting him up and lifting Top Dog up. We don't have me and Kendrick, we don't have these conversations where they're not in gratitude for the things that I did early on in my career to help push them to the light. Me and Top, we talk about just the kids and being great and where we at now, and that how lucky we are to have made it. Kendrick, when I see Kendrick, man, it's bear hugs. You know what I'm saying? It's bear hugs and damn near tears of joy on the accomplishments, knowing that where we come from on the west side of Compton, it's like, Black Boy Fly and Kung Fu Kenny. You know what I'm saying? I would come through in my Harley Davidson truck and just stay. I stayed in Compton in the beginning of my careers. I would just ride through. I wanted to see people. I wanted them to see what Black excellence looked like, when it climbs up, you know what I'm saying? When you make it out of that barrel. And so these days, man, it's like the division in West Coast hip hop is why there's no real stronghold on music right now. So we so divided. Like, you got, YG a drop or Kendrick a drop or Game a drop. But it's not like when you see Young Thug drop and Future is with him and the other Atlanta artists are with him, or, like how people rally behind, Travis Scott in Houston and definitely on the East Coast with this whole new, movement with, the drill, when you had 5EO and you got Lola Brooks and now you got Ice Spice and you got Scarlett and you still got Busta and Hove and all those East Coast artists that are some Swizz Beats that are supporting New York hip hop. Mm-hmm. Same, in, Miami, with the Kodaks and Cool and Dre and Rick Ross and like all of that. And it just, everybody is doing music together and everybody is helping each other and help big each other up. But on the West Coast, because of the gang segregation, we get all weird when it's time to do records and fuck with niggas. I've never been like that. I fucked with Nip. I fuck with YG. I fuck with Kendrick. I fuck with Top. I fuck with Glad. I had Glasses Malone. I helped every single body on the West Coast at some point in their career. And we both said that YG is self-made and he did his thing. But at the end of the day, I was the blood that made it worldwide before YG. So that had to be some sort of motivation even for my homie. You know what I'm saying? And before me, It was Mac 10 for me. Mac 10 did it to let me know that it could be done, because before that, Snoop and them was crip walking and stomping.
Well, there's DJ Quick.
I mean, yo, no. Well, let's not forget it.
Can't forget DJ
We
Quick.
were
He was actually the first person to claim a gang on record from LA.
The reason I said Mac 10 is because Quick was already like, again, a part of that monument. Mac 10 was the direct, I could see Mac 10. I was gangbanging, and I was a teenager when Mac 10 was doing Faux Life, and when he was the Chicken Hawk. DJ Quick is the same as Snoop and Dr. Dre to me. He patterned everything. Quick doesn't get enough credit for the shit that he does. And he, like Dr. Dre, is a genius behind any type of musical instrument, electronic, anything. Like DJ Quick, not to even, slight Dre. Quick and Dre might be neck and neck as far as like, production. I just think that Dre, because of his relationships and the way and the route that he took, made him and where he came from. Like, it's NWA, and it's we talking about Dr. Dre, but still on the same accord, Quick was again self-made. Quick was self-made. You know what I'm saying? So, him and YG, Quick and YG get all the props in the world from a nigga like me, because I had to go through Aftermath. Kendrick, went through Dre and had Top Dog. These niggas came up with their homies, put some, bags together and made it happen. So.
Well, 2004 rolls around, and that was the year that I met you. I was a mixtape DJ. I remember that the Tupac Rap Phenomenon mixtape was out, and it was like the biggest thing in the hip hop world. I'd won mixtape of the year. And I remember Mike Lynn actually said Dre wanted to sign me, and that never happened. It was the biggest loss of my life at that point.
Mike Lynn
He's legendary for this type of thing. I'm not the only person he's pulled this on. So I remember I met New Jersey Devil, and I'm like, yo, we should do a mix. And he's rolling with you. So I'm like, oh, we should do a mixtape, a game. He's like, oh, we should do a mixtape and a DVD. And I'm like, never thought about that before. I had this old ass, mini DV camera. And I'm like, all right, let's just pick it up and just start filming. And I flew out to LA. I went to your house, and we kind of powwowed and came up with this idea of, the Devil's Advocate. It was going to be, one disc was going to be a mixtape, and the other disc was going to be a DVD. And I was just rolling around with you, studio to studio and everything else like that. And I remember you had performed at MTV for How We Do, because West Side Story was already out. Right. And that was the first, now Game is now being cemented. Like, this is a dope song, a very West Coast song. But How We Do was the hit song. I remember we went to MTV, me, DJ Quick, and I think New Jersey Devil got caught smoking weed in the bathroom at MTV, and we all got kicked out. But DJ Quick was the DJ, so he convinced them not to kick him out because he was actually DJing your set. But it was a very interesting time, being at your house and seeing how this is all coming together. And it was like, you could tell that something big was about to happen. Now, before you actually dropped your album, JT put out The Untold Story.
Right.
Did that piss you off?
No, that was the demo.
But the fact that he commercially released it before your album.
No, I wasn't tripping, because I had love for JT for, and still got love for him. It's like a love-hate relationship with me and him, because he feel like he don't get enough props, for, helping kickstart my career. But I always get this nigga his props when he deserve them. Some of the shit that he tried to take credit for is just absurd. So then I got to hold my own ground. But at the end of the day, man, JT and Game, what we did, in San Francisco and what we did in the Bay Area from 2002 to 2004 was legendary, especially with Sean T on the production, and you can't never take that away, no matter how nobody feels, because The Untold Story was wrote the passage for the beginning of my career. And so JT did all the footwork, I did all the rapping, and that Ghazi, who is, the owner of Empire, was my engineer for the Untold Story.
He was your engineer?
Ghazi.
Oh, wow. I never knew this.
So before Ghazi was, making all this money and signing everybody these deals, I was screaming at Ghazi, out the booth, man. You know what I'm saying? But so Ghazi is my brother too. We just got a history. And like I said, A lot of people don't know a lot about what I went through and the relationships that I made and the things that it took for me to get here. But like I said, it doesn't matter which way I went. When I saw the fork in the road, I was going to be successful.
Okay, now your first album, the documentary, that wasn't the original title.
Nah, it was NWA Volume 1, I believe I had.
Right.
Yeah, it was
right.
like Nigga with Attitude Volume 1.
Exactly. But didn't Eazy-E's widow have a problem with it?
No, she didn't have, I don't think she had a problem with it at all because Tamika has, and I've never met Tamika, only talked on the phone once, but anything that I needed with Easy and anything that I've needed cleared over the years, she just cleared it. So it wasn't, we didn't have a problem back then. If she had a problem with anybody at all, and I'm just guessing that it might have been with like Dr. Dre maybe because they had history, Easy, Dre, I don't know. But I just changed the title on my own because when I came up with the documentary and then me and Jonathan Mannion were getting all this dope footage. And again, after doing the things with you and like, you know, like just documenting everything, I just felt like it was a documentary to my life. So when I ran that title by Dre, we both loved that more than NWA Volume 1.
Okay, so the album comes out. Dr. Dre and 50 were the executive producers. The guest appearances were crazy. 50 Cent, of course. Eminem.
Right.
Nate Dogg. Mary J. Blige. Faith Evans. Dre did the production. Kanye West did production. Scott Storch did production. Timberland did production. I mean, you basically got the best of the best from everyone involved. The song with Eminem. Oh, were you guys in the studio when that came together?
I went to 8 Mile and went to Detroit and I stayed out there for about a week and we did the song out there.
How was that experience?
Watching Eminem record and his whole recording process, that might have been one of the highlights of my career because I don't know if you want to call it weird or legendary or some Einstein type of shit, evil genius type of shit, but M is a very, very complex and different individual and in good ways. When he writes raps, he turns the paper around. He just writes in circles.
Oh, really?
And he turns it. And when he reads it, he turns it back the opposite way and starts to read it. When we were using, paper, I don't know his recording process these days. He also, back in those days, man, Eminem would just eat Taco Bell and drink Mountain Dew like it was like, I don't know, man. Like Snoop would smoke weed. But that process was dope. I'm forever grateful for being able to experience, prime Eminem in his essence in Detroit. That's one of the highlights of my career.
Well, the album comes out. It debuts at #1 on the Billboard 200.
Yeah.
#1. Not on the rap charts, not on the R&B charts, on the Billboard 200. The biggest selling album of that week.
All country
was
artists.
The Game.
Yeah. All pop, all rock.
All the rock stars, all the whoever the biggest pop person of the time.
Britney Spears, Christina
Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys,
baby.
Beyonce, Jay-Z.
Yeah, that was
Game was #1. Now I know, I ask these questions of how does it feel, and you're like, well, I can't answer, but there has to be some sort of feeling of going #1 on the Billboard 200 with your debut album.
That right there is going to get you the answer you've been looking for. The way that I felt was on top of the world. I might have felt a little too on top of the world because I got a little bit cocky at that point. And I think that's really when me and 50 really start to, our rift, like we really had this rift and everything that we were doing because I was needed to do certain things for G Unit, but I wasn't in compliance because I was doing Game. I just had the #1 album and I felt like I deserved the space to appreciate and to enjoy what was happening the same as he did when he dropped Get Rich or Die Trying. You know what I'm saying? But my obligations to G Unit was sort of holding me back, whether it be interview-wise, verbally, musically, or just in life. And so we started to riff at that point. But to be #1, to add a #1 album in the world at that point, all genres, all music genres was just, I don't know, man, life-changing for me. At that point, that's when it got real.
Well, let's talk about the singles that came off that album. So West Side Story was the first one, and that was like kind of like the lead up single.
Yeah.
How We Do was the hit, featuring 50 Cent, number 4 on Billboard.
Yeah.
That song has 650 million streams combined now.
Yeah, I don't get into streams. I think it's all.
I mean, think about the billions that had they counted it back then. Hate It or Love It was the third single featuring 50.
Number 1.
Number 1. 2 Grammy nominations.
Mm-hmm.
This became the biggest song on the album. Did you know you had something special with this song?
When I did Hate It or Love It, I did it in Connecticut at Tyson's old mansion that 50 had bought from him and occupied at that point. When I first heard the beat from Hate It or Love It, Cool and Dre did the beat, and that as soon as I heard the beat, my friendship, my brotherhood with Cool and Dre was forged for life because I knew as soon as I heard that beat that where I was going after that. And I had already had success with West Side Story as my street single. How We Do was already climbing the Billboard charts. The album was already number 1. And so I knew for a fact, you know how people have put out their first album and then they're scared of the sophomore jinx? Once Hate It or Love It dropped, I knew that I was cemented and I wasn't going nowhere. That is the record that literally put me where I needed to be and where I knew I was going to stay. And I knew I would be where I am today because Hate It or Love It was going to be successful. I knew it. It was something in that beat. And before I got on it, before 50 got on it, Cool and Dre sat somewhere and they made it together. And that, I think, changed the course of everybody's lives.
Well, then Dreams was the next one.
Kanye.
Featuring Kanye.
I got Dreams off a beat CD Kanye gave me. He gave me this beat CD at this Nike Town party for Nelly. Nelly had a party at Nike Town, and me and Kanye ended up freestyle battling outside of the.
You talked about this one on interviews.
Yeah, outside.
He actually beat
Nike
you.
Town. He beat me. It's good though. It's all
good.
He wouldn't last today.
So it's okay to be beaten by Kanye. You know what I mean?
He wouldn't last today.
But today, nah.
Nah, today I fuck Kanye up in a freestyle battle. But and that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? So he's somewhere in Jerry or somewhere. I don't know, putting up tents.
He's in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
Well, that song is dedicated to Yetunde Price, which was the half sister of Serena and Venus Williams.
Yeah.
Who got killed in Compton, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. It's been a long time.
And then the last single off that album was Put You on a Game, which was Timberland?
Yeah. Timberland, man. I went to, again, all these experiences. See, this is back when hip hop was like 100% authentic. I went to Miami to Hit Factory and we recorded with Timberland. When I did a song with Eminem, I went to Detroit. We recorded, that. When I did songs with 50, I went to Connecticut, went to New York, and we recorded those songs. So it's just like, that's when it was like, I don't know, man. It felt different. And that's why the hits were the hits and they had feeling because those songs were recorded, you know what I'm saying, in studio with people in the essence of like what was going on, man. So that's why they had a lot of success. These days, I don't know, with all this, emailing, verses and all that shit, this is why songs are, in and out. So
now, I remember talking to what was the name of the A&R at Aftermath?
Angelo
Sanders. There we go. And I remember he said like the original version of the documentary, 50 was on basically just too many songs. And I remember the original version, I think, of Where I'm From had 50 on the hook and they put Nate Dogg instead.
No, Nate Dogg was always on Where I'm From. 50 was on, I think 50 ended up being on how many songs? 3?
No, Special.
4?
I think, wait, it was Special, I think.
Oh, 50, 50 was on Special.
On the original hook, a Special.
Yeah,
they took him off and put Nate Dogg because they didn't want it to be a collab album, essentially.
Right.
They wanted it to be a game album.
Right. No, 50 was on the hook to Special because he wrote the hook for Special.
Right.
And we just put, he was, I was good with it. 50 was good with it because I think at that point he was only on 4 songs. But I think Jimmy Iovine was like, we want Game to stand alone, and I think the 50's on too many songs, so let's just put Nate Dogg on another record. And so we put Nate Dogg on that.
Okay. And that album, did it go multi-platinum?
The documentary?
Documentary.
Man, I don't fucking know. At this point, man, the documentary is just so platinum that it just, who gives a fuck if it's 1 or 2 or 10? I don't keep up with this shit.
And this became your biggest album to date.
I guess if you know.
Numbers wise.
Yeah, numbers wise.
Now, around that time, you started beefing with rappers. Was it Memphis Bleak? Was that one of the first ones to?
That was one of the first ones. I think I was just picking on niggas at some point in my career because it's like, you know, like I said, when I grew up, I was the first nigga in my hood to have the life and times of Sean, you know, S. Carter, and I put niggas on Reasonable Doubt. I was a nigga in the dope spot playing that when niggas didn't know who Jay-Z was, you know what I'm saying? So I always felt like Bleak was in my way. He was in my spot, you know what I'm saying?
Was it because his label was called Get Low Records and JT's thing was called Get Low?
There you go.
Kind of a petty beef, but you know.
I mean, I inherited that beef from JT, and that's how I was though. If I was fucking with you, then I was down for whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So I think I picked the beef with him, picked the beef with Joe Buttons out of nowhere. I was just fucking didn't give a fuck about nobody, man. Right. I was just picking fights, man.
Well, at that time, 50 was beefing with a whole bunch of people also.
Right.
He was beefing with Ja Rule, of course, with Fat Joe, with Jadakiss, with Nas. There's probably some other people I don't remember at the time. And what exactly happened? Because I guess you do a Hot 97 interview and you said that you don't have any issues with Fat Joe or Jadakiss and you actually want to do a song with Nas?
Well, the truth was, as I grew up, you know, I came up in my teenage years on Nas. So I couldn't beef with Nas. I didn't have no beef with Nas. And even though I usually get down with whatever's going on, I just wasn't down with beefing with niggas that shaped my career and made me want to rap. I couldn't do it because I didn't have any personal beef with Fat Joe and with Nas and with Jadakiss or the Lox. And it's crazy because all them niggas is damn near cool with 50 now, and I'm the nigga that ain't.
That is kind of true, huh? The irony of it all.
And the reason that I'm not is because of you niggas.
You didn't want to beef with these guys, yeah.
At the end of the day, man, it you know, 50 on tour right now, selling out arenas, and, you know, God bless his whole fucking everything he doing. I like the TV shows and shit, and I watch them, you know what I'm saying? And my kids are fans of that, you know, fans of them as well. But at the end of the day, man, you turn off the lights after his shows, after mine, turn off the mics and all that. 50 know exactly who I am. He know exactly what it is with me. And I don't know if you ever seen, like, 2 Rams, like, collide. Mm-hmm. That's what I think would happen if me and 50 actually went at each other physically. It was just, I don't know if he would win or I would win. I think at some point or someday it has to happen. Not no celebrity basketball match. I think me and him just need to get in the room as, like, you know, at this age and just close the door. Everybody could just hear the, you know, on the outside. But I think that's the only thing that's going to settle this. Me and him need to get in the room and just have a one-on-one, just, you know, and then come out as brothers again, like we did at the, you know, the summit in Harlem.
Well, okay. So as you mentioned, there was some tension that was kind of brewing between you and 50. So you do the interview basically saying, I don't have any beef with Nas or Jada or Fat Joe. And then 50 does a Funkmaster Flex interview where he said the Game is no longer in G-Unit. He said that Game is a great rapper, but he's not a great songwriter. And he claimed that he did 6 songs on the album. And then you heard that on the radio and you guys went to Hot 97 to talk to him about it.
I did write One Blood, Ali Boumaier, and the rest of my 9 albums after that. So,
exactly.
You know.
Exactly. No, I mean, I'm just saying what was said during that time.
Yeah.
I'm not making judgments.
I'm fucking with you.
So what was interesting is I was rolling with you during that time, but that day I'm like, I'll just stay home. So you and New Jersey Devil and some of your homies,
a lot of them.
A bunch of your homies. How deep were you guys that day?
Like 70.
70?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys go to Hot 97 to talk to 50 over what he just said.
Yeah, we had like 20 yellow cabs.
Okay. What happens next?
What happens next is they wouldn't let us in the building. It was locked. And there was security. And at that time, 50 was traveling with like ex-Marines and shit like that. You know, we just had the homies. And so we went up there, they wouldn't let us in. And so we got into, you know, some shit with the with his entourage and his, you know, his security, and shots were fired. A lot of shots were fired. And the crazy thing about it, I think it was one of the coldest days in New York, like in 50 years or something. So and the snow was like up to like niggas like knees, and so we had on Converse and shit. So I don't know if anybody ever been to New York where it's snowing heavy, but Converse in New York in the winter is the absolute worst decision you could make. And a lot of us had on like Chucks. And so it was niggas slipping and sliding. I remember trash trucks, like we was hiding behind trash trucks and shooting back. And it was just a whole shootout outside of Hot 97 that got us banned and changed the way that Hot 97 does interviews, I think, to this day.
Yeah, no, you can't do an interview inside of Hot 97.
Right.
Because I think it was like that building was part of like some...
It was Viacom or some shit.
Well, no, it wasn't Viacom. It was like part of like some union or something, workers union or something. And they were like, man, listen, we can't have this stuff.
Still to this day.
Yeah, to this day, you still can't do it. And I remember thinking like...
You're welcome.
Well, I remember thinking like, yo, I could have gotten shot that day if I was just happened to be with y'all.
You definitely could have. New Jersey Devil got shot.
He got grazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't there like, I think he mentioned in our interview that there was one of your guys had like a crow pipe or something or something crazy. Or,
man,
it was just
everybody
chaos.
Had it was madness, bro. But it was definitely bullets flying everywhere, and that was regular.
Yeah,
I didn't feel no way about that. I felt that was regular, and like I said, I always go back to, you know, the untimely demises of Tupac and Biggie, and I felt like hip hop was real. I felt like if you had a beef, this is the only way to settle it. And at that point in time, that was just crazy, because now looking back, that is just, you know, I don't know. I might have did things a little bit different, maybe.
I mean, if you could bring that moment back, do you think you would have, okay, let's just not approach him. Let's just get on the phone and have a conversation. And maybe it could have been squashed. Could it have been squashed?
Nah, I think we had to go up there and squash it in person again.
Okay, fair enough.
Minus the gunshots.
The gunshots,
I think we could have had, it's just with me,
it could have been a conversation. I mean, because I know 50. 50's intelligent. He's not just, crazy.
No, 50 is definitely intelligent. I think that with me and him, in-face conversations work better, because on the internet, we gonna fucking shit on each other, and behind closed doors, we gonna say whatever. But when me and him get in each other's face, it's just a different conversation, man. And he know it. Right,
but you guys end up having a press conference to basically say,
man, Jimmy Iovine made us do that shit, man. and I can't, and we got paid to do that.
Really?
Yeah, dog.
How much they pay you to
I think I got like $1 million to get on a private jet.
Wait, you got paid $1 million to do that press conference?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so why not, huh?
And yeah, I got like $2 million because they gave me $1 million to stop saying "G, you not."
Okay, well, because at that point, even though you had the press conference, nothing got worked out.
Fuck no.
No.
I think it might have lasted the length of the
press conference. Yeah, by the time the press conference was over.
And I was so angry. That's why in the pictures, man, even you might see 50 making a cool little, smiley face. But me, I was I don't think I smiled that entire time I was in New York.
Well, didn't he? I remember there was this one picture where he kind of like, you guys kind of shake hands. He sort of whispered something to you.
Yeah, I can't even remember what he said, but
you know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, it was probably some bullshit, because 50 be like you said, he intelligent, man. Yeah. So he be throwing curveballs, man, even when you ain't got your mitt on, man.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, that really settled nothing, because at Summer Jam, that's when you started the whole G You Not situation, which carried on for a while.
Right.
And then you drop 300 bars and running. 14 minutes long. You go at everyone at G Unit. Think you hit some Rockefeller people in the process. They caught some strays.
Yeah, man.
And then 50 responds with Piggy Bank.
That didn't work out.
Yeah. And then it just kept going.
Yeah.
It just kept going. You put out Ghost Unit mixtape. You put out Stop Snitching, Stop Lying.
Mm-hmm.
Then 50 responded, Not Rich, Still Lying.
I slaughtered them niggas. Basically.
It just kept going and kept going. Now, you said at one point Michael Jackson called you to try to squash it?
Yeah, man. I was in Canada on tour, man, and Michael Jackson called my hotel room. I don't even know how he got my number. Like, I guess Michael Jackson could just find niggas.
It's Michael Jackson.
It's Michael Jackson. It is. And so A call came and it was from a guy named Sir something. Like he was English or something, right? Like a black guy. He sounded black. His name was Sir Lucius, Sir something. But he said, like, game, I forgot Michael on the other line. And I'm like, what? Michael who? And I hit Jimmy and I was like, yo, they saying Michael Jackson on the call. He's like, yeah, I'll put it through. So Jimmy gave him the room number. So he was like, just hold on. And I remember they put me on hold and I just heard, do you remember the time? Like, it was like, you know how you get put on hold and like music started playing?
Oh, that was the whole music?
Yes. It was all Michael shit. You know what I'm saying? But I was on hold waiting for Michael for like 30 minutes. So, I mean, I heard like Human Nature. I heard I'm Bad, Thriller, all this shit was playing while I'm on hold. So then, you know, you got a way that you expect to hear Michael Jackson be, right? Like you expect Mike to be like, hey, you know, like he talks when you see him talk on TV. But it wasn't like that, bro.
Yeah, he has a deep voice.
He had a deep
talk to him,
but his voice was deep as fuck.
Yeah.
But you could still tell it was Michael Jackson. But he was just like, you know, hey. And I was just like, damn, where's the, you know, you got that. But I ain't getting none of that. I just got like, hey. And but I could tell it was Mike. And he was like, you know, he told me the story about, I was about to start talking like him and shit. He told me this story about like how every time he gets in the car, he puts on How We Do, and he just can't stop with the, you know, production. You know, he was like, Dr. Dre really gave you one of those special records, and, you know, with the tat. And he was like, man, you and 50 are good together. He's like, I don't know what you guys did or what you guys need to do, but you guys need to work that out. And I was like, at this time, I'm like, fuck 50, I ain't working shit out. But and it's Mike, so you listening to it, right? And he was like, yeah, we should do it on my album. And I was like, oh, so this nigga Mike is trying to like get us to do a song, like a reunion song or get back together, but make up on his album. So I was just like listening, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, Mike, I don't know. I don't think I'm fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? In my mind. But I told him that I would do it. But of course, it never happened. But I got off the phone. I could just remember how excited I was to be talking to Michael Jackson. Because again, I was a motherfucking kid, like with the glove, with the jacket, with the...
We all were.
You know, like it's Michael Jackson, bro.
The greatest entertainer of all time.
Of all time. And again, like I said, like we had that conversation, like how often do these guys come along and they just don't. It still hasn't been another Michael Jackson.
No, absolutely not.
Like you go back and watch Michael Jackson interviews, you see people crying, passing out, dying. No one has been able to mirror that. So again, man, still, all in all, I really wasn't fucking with Mike's idea to like, you know, do a song with 50 at that time and put it on his album. So we got off the phone. I was excited that I talked to Mike, and then I went on with my life.
Now, around that time, you and Suge Knight started to have a thing.
Yeah.
What was that over?
I think Suge was jealous because he wasn't the one that put out a Blood. I think he wanted to have his hand in anything that was Damu or Pyru or Blood related in music. And because it was Dr. Dre, which he had already had turmoil with in the past, and it wasn't him, that he felt a little way. But, you know, he barked up the wrong tree with me because, you know, I'm from the west side of Compton, and I'm a Blood, and I got my own niggas and my own army, and we wasn't going for none of that death row shit. So I met him head on in the streets a few times. Obviously, I'm alive. He alive, so, you know, nobody died. And I mean, me or him didn't die in that. But there was a few lives lost over the course of, you know, some times past just from, you know, our differences and whatnot. God bless their soul at this point. But yeah, me and Suge didn't see eye to eye either. And that right there was a bigger deal and a bigger beef to me than 50 because it was on my own home turf. And that one could have cost me my life as well. You know, remarkably, I survived that too. But yeah, me and Suge was at it probably worse than I've been at it with anybody else.
Well, yeah. I mean, in 2005 in Miami, Suge got shot. Not to say you have anything to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
Not to say you have anything to do with it. But he got shot during Kanye's party. I think he tried to sue Kanye because his earring got lost or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, shit was getting ugly.
Yeah, and that was me and Suge's beef. We were beefing at that point in time. Like I said, I'm not the one that, you know, fired the shots. I happened to be talking to Kanye at the time I heard the gunshots. You know, and everybody in that party, was running out of that party. And I kind of just walked out. Ye took off crazy. Which he should have. I mean,
She should, yeah.
But yeah, everybody took off. I kind of walked out casually because, again, go back to the beginning of our interview. I'm accustomed to gunshots and dead bodies and niggas getting shot. And I walked past and I seen Suge on a wall, kind of sitting with his legs spread open, shot with blood coming out of his pants. And he looked at me and I looked at him and shit. I don't know what he thought, but I was like, damn. I remember just saying, damn. And then I walked out of the Shore Club and went to the beach, and I just walked on the beach, and I was like, damn, niggas really just shot Suge. It's crazy. And then I went to the hotel. I was staying at the Versace mansion at the time, not to like toot my own horn, but I was living a life. I was living a king's life, man. But I slept well that night.
Now, you guys squashed it at one point. Wasn't there like a West Coast peace treaty or something that happened and something?
It was a West Coast peace treaty. I don't think it had anything to do with Suge or
okay. Yeah, Suge wasn't there, but I'd heard that afterwards, basically the feud was over.
Yeah, I think me and Suge just came to we came to agreement that Pirus shouldn't be especially like Bompton Pirus shouldn't be funking with each other or beefing. If you're not familiar with the term funking. And after that, it's been smooth ever since, man. I talked to him like a few weeks ago about his, little podcast from prison and whatnot. And him and Wack got a funny relationship too. They always go back and forth on some fuck you shit. But yeah, man, me and Suge cool, man.
Well, on West Side Story, you had a line that said, "I don't do button-up shirts or drive Maybachs."
Yeah.
Which some people said was a Jay-Z diss.
Yeah.
Which I guess you said wasn't.
I think it was more geared towards Ja Rule.
Right.
Because I remember Ja Rule being on like MTV Cribs saying he had the first Maybach and he was in New York. And at that time, 50 was beefing with Ja. And so again, I just jumped in. And I had knew and met Ja before I met 50. But I mean, I was riding with G on this, so it was what it was.
Well, Jay-Z had a freestyle on Flex.
Yeah.
And he kept using the word game.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, which seemed like it was a shot.
It was. And I think that that if Jay-Z even says your name once, you know what I'm saying, you should feel proud because you scratched the surface with one of the best, hip hop artists of our time. And I think that to this day, again, I've never seen Jay since the 40/40 Club back in that day with him and Henchman and when we were in there politicking. And I've never done a song with Jay, and we just haven't crossed paths again. Maybe my Rock Nation brunch, maybe my invite get lost in emails.
Right.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's in the spam.
It's in the spam folder. I'm sure that's what it is. Yeah.
Hove know what it is. I think that at this point, I think he has a lot of respect for me. We got mutual friends, Pharrell and Busta and Swizz. I think he has a lot of respect for me. I definitely got a lot of respect for him. It was never really no malice. It was more a hip hop thing. He was the top dog, and I tend to do that. Even on my last album with, throwing shots at Eminem and beefing with Eminem, it was just me being upset with Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre can't out-rap me, so I just went at M just because that's just how I get sometimes. But it's always competitive. It ain't like I'm gonna see M and be like, what's up now? You know what I'm saying? It's M. You know what I'm saying? And then M took his shots on a record that dropped. Yep. And M is a funny guy.
Well, but, you responded to Jay in the song "My Bitch."
Yeah. So again, I get real disrespectful when I'm beefing, man. Yeah. And Jay took all that shit to heart, and I don't know if he's forgiven it. At this point, it's been a long time.
Well, didn't he clear like a sample?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's got to be good. Like I said, I just haven't crossed paths with Hove in a minute. But again, I think we both Sagittarius. We both great rappers. Obviously, for accolade wise, and as far as like his career has spanned, he's gonna be highly touted. But as far as like skill set, Hove is not confused on what I can do when I sit down and really get to lyrically demolishing shit, and vice versa, man. I got nothing but respect for Hove.
Well, by 2006, because of all the back and forth with G Unit, you actually left Aftermath and signed to Geffen A&M, which was a subsidy of Interscope.
Yeah,
right?
that was some Jimmy Iovine bullshit. He put me on Geffen to separate me from Interscope and what they had going, I guess, so they could say the game is no longer signed to Interscope, or maybe it was him and 50, or it definitely wasn't Dre. So yeah, but who gives a fuck? It was just some secretary punching paperwork, because Geffen and Interscope were
they're
in the same building.
They're
so
under Universal,
I didn't personally give a fuck who name was on the back of the album. Like, I didn't care. So, you know, David Geffen was always good to me, and Jimmy Iovine was good to me until he wasn't. I seen Jimmy not long ago, and it was like, what's up, gang? What's up, Jimmy thing. I think he know how I feel at the end of the day. I think that Steve Berman has always been my olive branch to Interscope Records, and that's the guy that's always stayed solid with me up until recent. We got like a little small beef, but I love Steve Berman to death. And he'll watch this and he'll call me and he'll say what I do now. And you know, but I'm glad it's on Vlad. Like, again, I'm glad that I'm doing the interview with you. I had told Wack I knew he was gonna be thorough, and I knew it was gonna be a Vlad interview, which is a reason why I don't do a lot of interviews today. I don't got time for the cookie cutter shit. If I feel disrespected, you know, maybe the camera equipment goes with me and shit like that. But so I really just don't do a lot of interviews. I like to stay in my little, you know, in my little place and just do me and parent and do what I do.
Well, you leave the label, you're on a new label, which, like you said, doesn't matter. And then you drop your second album, Doctor's Advocate. Now, Dre wasn't part of this project at all.
Doctor's Advocate? No.
At all. It's called The Doctor's Advocate, but Dre is not part of the production, executive producer, nothing.
Nope.
Is there a reason for that?
Because he financially and infrastructurally, he had to take sides with who Jimmy took sides with.
Which is 50.
Which was 50.
Okay.
And so it made sense, because that's where the bulk of the money was being made. And so at that point, you didn't want to piss 50 off because he was the breadwinner. So yeah, everybody chose sides, but I did The Doctor's Advocate, and no one thought it was coming out. They thought I was done, until one night in New York when I recorded One Blood, and I went to Funk Flex, and I went to Clue, and I went to K Slay, and I went to Angie, and I went to every club. I linked up with Jim Jones. He took me to Harlem. We dropped it off in every club. I walked in every club. I bought bottles in every club, and I made One Blood crush shit.
It was an event.
So by the time I got back to the West Coast, they were begging me to finish the album. And that's where me and 50's relationship really went left, because he didn't like the support that I was getting from the building.
Well, I mean, although Dre wasn't involved in it, Kanye West did production, Just Blaze, Scott Storch, High Tech, will.i.am, Swizz Beatz, Buster's on it, Kanye's on it, Nas is on it. Was that the first song?
That's the first song I ever did with Nas.
Love it. Nate Dogg is back on it. Snoop is on it. Dog Pound. Jamie Foxx is on it. I mean, you really pulled out all the stops.
Yeah.
Debuted #1 again. So sophomore jinx, whatever.
Out the window.
Out the window.
Yeah.
2 #1 albums in a row. 360,000 copies the first week.
How many
Blood.
How many copies artists selling these days?
Not a lot.
Per week? Just offhand,
35,000.
That's top tier.
Yeah, that's considered an A-list artist these days.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Let's Ride was the second single. And it was around this time that the whole G-Unit beef got worse, because Jimmy Henchman's son got slapped up. And that set off a whole really bad set of events.
Right.
Which ultimately, ended up with Jimmy Henchman in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you heard about that happening, what'd you think?
I felt like if it was my son, and, I don't know, maybe the same events might have occurred. And again, I wasn't directly involved in what transpired. Correct. But if it was my son, if you slap my son, I'm coming to see you. Point blank, period. And I can't speak for Jimmy or his actions or anything that he did or say what he did or didn't do. It's not me. But I know that I have a son, and it gets real serious when we get to talking about my kids. The jokes go out the window. It's about life. And I would trade my life 10 times over so that they can breathe for another, 24 hours if it was my choice. So if you slap my son, you might meet your maker. That's just me.
Well, Tony Yayo, he's a regular on my show. And I remember we talked about the situation, and, his mom's house got shot up after that happened.
Yep.
And what he said was, I get it.
And I understand, you know what I'm saying? Because they, you know, when you smack somebody's kid, I understand, you know. I totally understand. It was like kids and women ain't supposed to be involved in beef. So I guess the rules was broken. But after a point, you know, if you shoot out my mom's crib, it's fuck you forever. Like, I don't give a fuck what happened. But at the end of the day, when kids and women get involved, it gets a little more crazy. So I understand. Your kid got slapped. Yeah, he did what he's supposed to do, but he was under investigation while he was doing that.
You know, if my son got slapped up, the same thing would probably happen in reverse. So he's not mad over the chain of events that happened. He's from the street. He understands the logistics of what happens, and it was a very unfortunate event. You know, the guy who actually did the assault ended up losing his life. It was just, I feel like things just escalated to a really ugly level at that point.
And I mean, Yayo, man, Yayo know what it is too. I think that as far as loyalty goes, Yayo might be the poster boy for what 50 was looking for. Yayo held 100%. It down the whole time. And so I commend and I salute, like literally salute Yayo for holding his man down. That's his man. I don't ever think that at any point in time, Yayo should have went any other direction except the direction 50 was going. I also don't think, you know, I think Banks should have stayed that way. I think Buck should have stayed that way, but this is only me. I just know that I'm just a different individual. And so I had to, you know, make my presence felt and do what I had to do based on situations that I knew that I would come out of on top. And so I made decisions, but I don't got no problems with Yayo or 50 or nobody I did back then. I like literally wanted them niggas to die. I didn't even give a fuck. I just wanted them to die because I'm from the streets. And so when you got a problem with somebody in the streets, you just want niggas to disappear. So that was back then. These days, man, nothing, you know, my hat's off. I see Yayo with 50 doing his thing. I see 50 doing his thing. Do your thing.
I know that Lloyd Banks and Young Buck are punching the air right now, not being on this huge worldwide tour that 50's on right now, selling out arenas all over the planet.
Right.
Because imagine them performing G-Unit songs together on that stage. You know, the money, of course, is great also, but I mean, imagine the impact of G-Unit, you know, the core G-Unit members being together.
Right.
But unfortunately, you know, right around that time, that's when Young Buck got kicked out of G-Unit.
Mm-hmm.
And the two of you were relatively cool.
Me and Buck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we still cool.
Right. Because you know, later on, he showed up in a music video with you and Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Now,
Buck is solid, man.
Yeah, shout out to Buck. I've interviewed him.
Banks
I've always
is solid.
Said, you know,
the
Banks is mad at me for some ridiculous reason, but
people could be mad at people for whatever.
For whatever reason. But Young Buck is 100. Yeah,
but it still doesn't take. Let's just get one thing square. I could be mad at you. You could be mad at me, but I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna walk out of here and be like, Vlad's a bitch. No, look, before
you and I have had disagreements before. But whatever.
But I respect you.
Yeah, likewise.
You know what I'm saying? I respect you, and that is what it is. If I didn't, I definitely wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So our disagreements over whatever it was, my disagreements with Buck, 50 Banks, Dr. Dre, that shit, in the big scheme of things, man, like, look at the world, man. The world is literally falling apart. I don't got time to be beefing with nobody over no bullshit.
Right. Well, that next year, 2007, you got arrested for an incident at a basketball court, where they say that you allegedly threatened someone with a gun.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happened, you end up having to plead no contest, and you got 2 months in jail.
Right.
What was it like to be game?
6 months.
Was it 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. So 6 months in jail. What was it like to be game at the level that you're at, to be then thrown into where you were at age 17 in LA County Jail?
10 times worse, because by default, you go in by default, you go into solitary confinement because they don't want any lawsuits from your family members if something happens to you. And that, for me, that's what made it the longest time on earth, because I was in a cell basically 24 hours a day, except, you know, the hour that you get out for either to make a phone call or take a shower. You have to choose. You don't get both. So either taking a shower or you making a phone call. Me, I'm, you know, my cleanliness is next to godliness, so it wasn't a lot of phone calls. But I spent a lot of time reading and just reflecting on shit. And, you know, it's always funny because when you're in jail, You always reflecting and reading and becoming more knowledgeable. Then when you get out the shit, you just go right back to whatever fuck you was doing, like you wasn't never in jail. But yeah, man, I ended up doing some time in jail, got out, and still didn't learn my lesson.
Right. Well, that next year, 2008, you dropped your third album, LAX.
Yeah.
Now, this debuted at number 2 on Billboard, but
Still got
Billboard calls this the closest race for number 1 since they started tracking it in
They
1991.
cheated me with a country artist, I believe.
Well, with Slipknot.
Oh, was it Slipknot?
Yes, it was Slipknot.
I fuck with Slipknot. I fuck with
hard
Slipknot.
rock.
It might have been my 4th album then, yeah.
They're saying that you missed the number 1 slot by 13 albums.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How crazy is that?
But see, so I basically number 1 because I can remember vividly buying 14 albums myself that day. Crazy.
Crazy. First single was Game's Pain featuring Keisha Cole. Second single was Dope Boys with Travis Barker. And now the video, I guess, was too crazy for MTV to play it.
Dope Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has some coke in it.
Okay. Then the third single I had mentioned before was My Life with Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And then Young Buck shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know the type of chaos that was going to happen for Young Buck to show up in a Game music video, considering the history?
I wasn't really thinking about that because, like I said, Young Buck was solid, and me and him always retained our camaraderie through whatever me and 50 was going through. But that's just what happens when you real. It's kind of like when I didn't want to go at Nas and Joe and Kiss, and not to go too far off subject, but I got next time I talk to Joe, I got to ask him like I went to bat with you and got kicked out of a whole group, and now you and 50 cool, nigga. Nah, but Joe is my guy. But yeah, man, Buck showed up, and like I said, it was always love, and it's always gonna be love, man. So I didn't know that if I would have thought about it, I would have knew that 50 wasn't gonna take that well. 50 got a way that he wants shit to go, and when it don't go that way, he gets to throwing his building blocks and kicking over his little, Legos. So,
Well, in 2009, you started working on your next album, the Red Album.
Yeah.
And I remember leading up to it, Snoop had actually posted a picture of you and Dre, I guess with Snoop together in the studio.
Uh-huh.
So you actually worked it out with Dre at that point?
Yeah, at that point. No, me and Dre, here's the thing, man. Just because Dre wasn't on the production side of, out of my second and third album, which I'm glad that he wasn't because I was able to show that I was a dominant force on my own. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that I didn't talk to Dre or, me and Dre wasn't, had the same relationship. Dre always told me, he was like, no matter what happens, no matter what is said in the media, me and you are always going to be the same as we were the last time we had an in-person conversation. So even still, with everything that, our little disconnect now or whatever it is, man, I still got nothing but love for Dr. Dre. It just is what it is. It's Dr. Dre in this game. And it's always going to be that.
Right, because I think in 2010, you posted a picture where you're wearing a bunch of Aftermath chains, and you say, it's funny how things come full circle.
Yeah.
And I guess, didn't you say you're going back to Aftermath at that point?
No, it was basically, that was my ode to Dre, just saying that, like, I'm always going to be Aftermath no matter what. And it's still to this day. Aftermath is Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
And so as long as it's a Dr. Dre, it's going to be an Aftermath. And even still, when it's not a Dr. Dre or, it's still going to be an Aftermath, or it's not an Aftermath, it's still going to be Dr. Dre. Same shit, man. It's just like one is the other, man. So when you think Aftermath, you can't think of anything but Dr. Dre. So.
Well, then the next album comes out, the Red Album, debuted number 1 again.
Yep. And we already established I got cheated out of my third album.
So it's technically 4, you could say.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Dr. Dre actually produced on this.
Dr. Dre produced on it, 2 records, I believe, and he also did some narration for me on it.
Right. Pharrell was also, Dre, Pharrell, and Mars from 1500 or Nothing were the executive producers.
Mars and Lawrence, they like a package deal, so it's like kind of a cool and great thing. But West Coast, 1500 or Nothing, they got the Sound Academy, they doing great things. But yeah, it's always Mars and Rance.
Right. Like you said, Dre showed up on it, Snoop showed up on it, Tyler, the Creator, showed up on it, Lil Wayne showed up on it, and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Now, was this one of his first, he already had his original album out.
Right.
you know, but Good Kid, Mad City wasn't out yet.
No.
So this was like almost like, okay.
His introduction to the world on a
into
world
the mainstream
stage.
in a way.
Yeah. Yep.
And now look at him. How many Grammys does he have now?
I don't, 1 million. How many do I have?
But you've been nominated though. You've been nominated.
I lost to Missy. And Missy just got inducted to the Hard Rock Hall of Fame. So a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. So yeah, again, man, I don't like, here's the thing. When I don't win Grammys, I don't feel a way if somebody else wins it in my same genre, especially if it's like, you know, Missy, man. Like Missy, I was listening to Missy when I was still in the 9th and 10th grade. And then when every time Kendrick wins a Grammy, I feel like I won a Grammy because I know the story and I was there to watch it all transpire. So it's just like when my little brother win, man, I win. We all win, really, because it's for the greater sense of like just music and our culture, you know.
Well, then the next album, Jesus Peace. And Dre worked on this as well.
I got classic albums, man.
Yep. This was number 6 on Billboard.
I don't understand how or why. And you know what? Hey, you know when motherfuckers hit they do this, it's up. But yeah, the reason why that album was number 6 and not number 1 is because Interscope half promoted it. And you can ask me why.
Why?
Because it was my last album.
They knew you were on your way out.
They knew I was going. They knew I was leaving. And the arms in Interscope were changing. Everything, the infrastructure was changing. Jimmy Iovine was ready to step down and go to Universal and all of this shit. And it just, the team, Kevin Black was no longer there. And so the team that works the machine was falling apart. The rotors, the screws was all coming loose. And so the promotion was down. But Jesus Peace is for sure one of my best albums. And it should have been number 1. And I don't even know who was 1 through 5, but that album was better than everything that dropped this year, hands down.
It's a dope project. And the single off that was Celebration, which sampled First of the Month.
Yeah.
That's what's up. One of those classic,
man.
classic
Thugs, man.
Ruthless Records songs right there.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And then after that, you announced that you're leaving Interscope. And you dropped the mixtape Operation Kill Everything. And it was around this time that Birdman was saying that you had signed a Cash Money, or there was something about that?
Me and Birdman, we always had this thing, like when I'm done with Interscope, you know, he would like to put out an album on me. I talked to Birdman 2 weeks ago, and we talked about the same thing again. He was like, man, before you hang it up, man, we got to do a Game Cash Money album. And, I'm always down for it. I got a studio at the crib, and I'm, like I said, I'm at the top of my game still. My pen is what Big Boy always say, Game's pen is never lazy, man. So,
Well, yeah, and you could say that Birdman, the greatest hip hop CEO of all time, because he's still doing music. The Puffies and everyone have kind of gone into other directions.
Right.
Dre
Birdman,
isn't really
still.
Birdman is still like, still signing artists, still
he got
putting
Young
shit
Boy,
out.
He got Uzi.
That's what I'm saying.
Still the Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Wayne.
That's what I'm saying.
It's Birdman, man.
Yeah,
like
me and Birdman talk. We've been talking about doing an interview for a while now. We just have to get our schedules aligned. But I have the utmost respect for Birdman. And then that same year, Jimmy was arrested, and ultimately he got life plus 20.
Yeah, I don't even understand life plus 20, but I understand it because, I'm thugging and I get it, right? I understand how the law works, but I mean, your life and adding 20 years on that is like for what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, me and him did an interview because he was awaiting his appeal. And we did an interview, and I've never actually said this story on tape before, but fuck it, I'll let it out. So we did this interview, and he mentioned a couple of things about the case, right? I didn't think anything of it. Next day he called me. He's like, hey, listen, I talked to my lawyer. Can you take it down? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I got you. Took it down. 6 months later, the Justice Department called me. And they're like, yo, we need that interview. And I'm like, I'm not giving it to you. It's like, well, we're going to put you on stand. I'm like, well, I guess you have to speak to my lawyer then. So I paid $10,000, got my lawyer together, and my lawyer just fought it.
Right.
And ultimately they weren't able to get the subpoena. And it would have set an interesting kind of precedent of how the press works, because their thing was like, well, you already put it out, so we should have access to it. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not, put it out or not, I'm not going to give y'all access to it. Ultimately, it never got used in the case. He was found guilty anyways in his case, but And I never even told them about it until years later.
Yeah, same thing happened to me, man. They came to my doorstep and threatened, jail time, wanted me to testify, go to New York and do all this. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna just lawyer up and we just gonna do
that's what happened. Yeah. Everyone, if you interview with me, I'm not gonna work against you with the police.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's regardless of whether I agree with you or not.
I mean, morally, from your standpoint, where you come from, that's just ethically. And
exactly. I'm not gonna do it.
That's not.
I don't care how much money I have to spend. And it's like, I'm just gonna...
I mean, for me and you, opposite sides of the microphone and opposite sides of the camera, we just come from a place in hip hop where we did this shit together. And so when somebody says 50 years of hip hop, Vlad's a part of that, Game's a part of that, and so are the people that we looked up to that came before us, and so are these, younger artists and younger, interviewers that are like coming up now. So it's like we all part of this shit.
We have to set a precedent in terms of how we do things.
And so even if me and you are at it, we're not taking it to them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Well, in 2014, you and Lil Durk got into it.
Yeah.
What was that over?
Man, Tyga. Tyga and Durk had some drama. I didn't even know who Lil Durk was, but again, man, I pretty much hold myself in this capacity where I'm like, anything taking shots at the West Coast, like I'm a live and die for. So Tyga hit me. He was like, I want you on this song, man. And I'm beefing with, Lil Durk. I'm like, I don't even know who Lil Durk is. So I did my research and then I did my verse and then Tyga phased out of it. Then it was just me and Durk beefing.
Yeah.
And that it was short lived, man. Like I said, me and Durk, we exchanged a few words on wax. I ran into him at this Rick Ross party and we had mutual homies. So we squashed it there. On video, it looks like, whatever people thought it was. They saying Durk came to LA and he punked Game. But
I remember, it was at the Supper Club, I think.
No, it was downtown.
Was it downtown? Okay, because I remember I interviewed Durk right afterwards.
Right.
And me and his brother kind of became cool during this time. Right. But it seemed like a whole bunch of nothing.
A few days ago, a video came out where you were in the club arguing. But then the next day, there were some tweets from both of you clearing up the whole situation.
Yeah.
So talk about, what happened between the club and the tweet.
It was like, that's our first time seeing each other. I'd ask, it was, you know what I'm saying? His people had, so we just brought it to the middle of the club, caused a big ass scene. But at the end of the day, it was street politics.
So what happened after the club?
Next morning, a couple of the big, older guys out here, the old school guys out here, put us on a three-way call. We squashed and basically it ain't no big story to it.
It wasn't nothing. And I saw Durk at Drake's concert, I don't know, a month or two back, and we laughed about it. We chopped it up. Yeah. We jumped on live and we was cool. But I fuck with Durk, man. Durk is a real nigga, and I love everything he's doing. And like I said, he stand on business, and he know I stand on business. So at the end of the day, it's just we just gonna let it be whatever it was, which is bullshit.
Well, and then next year, you and Young Thug got into it.
Yeah.
Was it over Young Thug beefing with Lil Wayne?
Wayne, man.
And you and Wayne are close. Wayne's tour bus got shot up.
Yeah.
So things were escalating.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Because I felt like Wayne's always been there for me, man. And again, this is one of those, it's a Vlad interview, man. So everybody's going to see this. It's going to do its numbers, especially since it's Vlad and Game. I don't know who you've been interviewing lately, but my name, your name together is going to do a different kind of number.
Yes.
Once it hits the internet. Wayne's going to see it, and he just know that my brotherhood with him, it's the way that I feel about Wayne in music is the way that I feel about Wayne out of music. That is my brother. Him and Mac, we might as well be blood related because those are my dogs. They've been holding me down since my introduction to hip hop and all the way through it. Never change. Anytime I call Wayne, he gonna show up for me or anything I need for the kids or just anything, man. Like, he's solid. So when he was beefing with Thug, I just, I jumped in that.
I remember it got sort of what I felt was
I don't like niggas ganging up. I don't like niggas ganging up on niggas I fuck with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I remember didn't he post a picture of your daughter and then you posted a picture of his daughter.
I don't think I posted a picture of his daughter.
No, you did.
though.
I remember you did. Yeah, I think you did.
Damn. Shit.
But it wasn't like a disrespectful picture. It was just like, oh, okay.
This is what we doing.
Here's what we're doing here.
Right. But and when he posted my child, he wasn't disrespectful either.
No, he was like, oh, you know, your daughter has beautiful eyes or something like that. But it was still kind of like,
no. So it was like a new way of beef for me because I didn't know how to take it. I was like,
right.
Is this a compliment or is this nigga like dissing me?
No, I think he said, oh, I wish it was my daughter or something. I think that's what he, oh, look, you know, she has beautiful eyes. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
First of all, free slime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hate to see anybody locked up in those type of situations when they get to yelling out that, you know, Spanish guy Rico's name. But I didn't know what to take from that. So yeah, I don't know what to do with that except put up a picture of his. I don't know. Guess his daughters.
Well, you guys eventually worked it out, right?
Yeah, we worked it out.
And he did some music with you.
It was Birdman, man. Birdman came. Birdman was like, you know, what's happening? You know what this is, you know.
Playboy.
Birdman was just like, yeah, Playboy, you know, his family, you family, we family, we got to work it out. And so he put us on the phone. We ended up just, you know, squashing that shit. And then we did a record to, you know, make sure that it was, you know, mended on wax. And yeah. But again, man, free slime. I hate to see him, you know, locked up like that.
Well, that same year you dropped your 6th album, Documentary 2, on your own label, Blood Money Entertainment and E1 Music.
Mm-hmm.
And that had the song 100 featuring Drake.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a moment there.
That was a moment. Drake came to Compton for the first time and really pulled up on Cedar Block. Same rules, same, you know, niggas outside doing what they do. That was really huge for Drake to do that. And again, I'm forever, you know, in debt because he did that.
Drake was still Drake back then.
He
was still the top guy in the game.
Let's just establish the fact that Drake is always going to stay.
Drake has always been Drake. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's he
from best I ever had.
He don't miss,
and never dropped the ball.
Drizzy don't miss. And again, he is a guy that has always been like a stand-up guy for me. And if I call him, he there, him and Chubbs, that whole crew, man, that whole 6 crew, man, they just dope individuals. So anything aimed at Drake, I'm gonna have to step in just standing on business and it being like, you know, family.
Well, that next year, 2016, you and Lloyd Banks took a picture together.
Yeah, I think it was in Dubai or something.
Dubai, yeah. 50 wasn't happy with that picture.
Yeah,
I kind of think that the reason why Lloyd Banks and 50 are where they are right now is because of that photo.
But see, yeah, you might be right. But the thing about it is, I don't know. I think we getting to a point where we're gonna have to assume 50's not a happy guy.
Well, I mean, I remember talking to Yayo about it, and he said, look, like, regardless of where me and 50 are relationship-wise, I would not take a photo with someone he's beefing with. That's Yayo's take.
Right.
Apparently, Lloyd Banks didn't feel the same way that day.
Well,
I mean, when that photo came together, what led up to it? Because obviously there's a long history of him dissing you dissing him.
What niggas need to understand is while 50 was being 50, Yayo was in jail in the time that I was in G Unit.
Yeah, in the very beginning.
So it was 50, it was Game, and it was Lloyd Banks, and it was Buck, right?
Yeah.
And so 50 was obviously the head on the dragon, right? And so the rest of us, we had to fuck with each other. And so in doing that, we created, you know, bonds, man. And so some of that shit is just like niggas just being real with themselves and being real with who they know to be real with. I don't think he meant to shit on 50 by taking a picture. I think he just saw a nigga that he came up with and created music with and created a bond with, and it was nothing but a snap of a picture. Like I don't really get. I mean, I do get it, but.
Well, with 50, you do, because 50 functions as 50. He's never deviated from being 50.
And other people got to function as them.
Yeah.
I can't function as 50. I got to function as Game. And Banks felt the same way. So we took a picture. I mean, you know, he got his panties in a bunch about it. But I mean, it's, again, 50 going to be mad about something anyway. So I didn't give a fuck. And I doubt that Banks did.
Well, around that time, didn't you and 50 run into each other at Ace of Diamonds? And they were saying that the beef is over or something of that sort?
Like I said, yeah, it's me and 50 ran into each other at a popular strip club in Hollywood, West Hollywood, called AOD, Ace of Diamonds. And we didn't really run into each other. I knew that he would be there, so I pulled up. Because like I said, everything with me and 50 needs to happen face to face, whether it's going to be drama or whether it's going to be a conversation. So we go to the strip club, and we get in the strip club. He said, well, I need to holler at him. Face to face, man to man. I had a relationship with Monster through my man $8.
That was his head of security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$8 BP, that's my head of security in the whole New York region. So I walk up on Monster, said, Monster, gang wanna holler at 50. He said, Wack, how we gonna do that? Like, we in the motherfucking strip club. I said, Monster, listen, this is what we gonna do. Me and Game gonna come. Everybody else not gonna come. You stand behind Game, and I'm gonna stand behind 50 and let him talk. He went over there and talked to 50. 50 looked at me, and I think 50 kind of remembered the last club. Wack said it was cool, it was cool. And he gave a head nod. Me and Game went over there, and I stood behind 50, and Monster stood behind Game. And they talked, man, for like 10, 12 minutes, laughing, joking. It was cool. I don't know what the hell they was talking about because we couldn't, they kind of in each other's ear.
Yeah.
The music is going on, and it was cool. The 2 times that I ran into 50 since we had beef, back in the G-Unit days was all peace at the end of the day, and we had, amicable conversation, because that was our relationship when we was face to face. You know what I'm saying? It only gets misconstrued when we can't see each other. And I get it. So that's why, on his Instagram page or on mine, niggas can say what they want to say, but he know that if he get in my face, he gonna have to show up as like Curtis, and I'm gonna have to show up as JCon, because at one point or another we were friends, and we made great music. He can't make great music with nobody else. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
you guys made magic together. I mean, it is. I mean, I've always wished that there would be an actual G-Unit tour with you included.
yeah.
I've always said this. Imagine the chaos that would occur with everyone's fans, including Banks, including Buck. Like,
Right.
Fuck all the bullshit. Like, I really wish that this was, gonna happen in my lifetime. I don't know whether it will, knowing,
I mean, well,
I know you, I know 50 to a certain regard. I know Yayo really well. Me and him probably have the close relationship. He's a regular guest. But like, no one's out here really pushing the line. Like, Yayo doesn't diss you in in our interviews or whatever else. It's like, everyone's older. Everyone is, has kids and families. But at the end of the day, the people at the top have to make that decision to do it. And at this point, it hasn't happened yet. But
yeah, I think that, number one, 50's on his final lap. Tour-wise, is what the name of his tour is. And then Game is just chilling, man. And I don't have any desires to be on a stage with 50 or on a stage with anybody. I think that I got my own fan base, and I like doing my own thing every year or every few years. Go on tour, and it's just me and my people, like he's doing with him and his fans. They get to see him while he's doing his thing and see me when I'm doing my thing. I don't think there will ever be a day where you'll see Game and 50 on a stage performing anything. I mean, at this point, it is what it is.
You never know.
Which,
You never know.
I mean, I'm one of you will ever know. I'm half of the you will ever know.
You're right.
Sitting right here.
So if you're saying it, okay, I got it. All
What
right,
I'm
fair
saying is that I don't think it's gonna happen. So I mean, I would think that I would just like to calm the spirits,
Sure.
In people's wish lists, and just let him do his thing, let me do our thing. Understand that it's really no malice, and that's just it.
Well, at one point, you and Chris Brown had worked together before,
Mm-hmm.
and then you liked a picture of Carucci on Instagram, and that turned into a whole thing, which was the oddest thing I'd ever heard of. I remember you were on the Breakfast Club, and they were like, "Oh, so why'd you like the picture?" He's like, "What do you mean? Why did I like the picture? I like the picture.
It's
What's so
Instagram,
fun?
man.
It's Instagram. This is what you do. You like pictures." And then you actually addressed it. Well, I guess you mentioned her on the song "All Eyes," which was on that next album,
Yeah.
1992. Did the two of you ever work this
Me and
out?
Chris?
Yeah.
It was never really. It was
That's
never
what I'm
really
saying. It
nothing.
seems silly.
it was never nothing, man. I think the media blew it out of proportion, man. It's kind of like the G Herbo and Chris thing that just, transpired. It was nothing, man. Chris is my little brother, man. I talk to him bi-weekly. We always are in traffic and got a mutual friend putting us on FaceTime or something like that. And that's my little homie, man. More like a brother to me. And I'm there for, guidance when he needed, and I'm always there to have his back when he needed. And it is what it is, man. So, sometimes media just twist shit and turn shit, but it's never what it really is unless both parties, you can obviously see that it's some static.
Well, but that same year, you and Meek Mill started going at it.
Yeah. You
dissed him on 92 bars. And then he responded to you he freestyled over Young M.A.'s Ooh. And then O'Malley and Beanie Siegel were involved in that. Then Beanie Siegel got assaulted. Me and him did an interview about that, which I thought was really lame.
I'm all right with Meek. I'm all right with Gang.
And Tiffy Bay said that you guys are good as well.
We got no choice to be good.
There we have it.
We all right.
There we have it. Me personally, I thought it was some bullshit.
There's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you dropped Pest Control. What was that whole thing over?
It was over this beef, this not even a beef, it was a thing, man. So long story short, Sean Kingston was supposed to, I looked out for Sean Kingston a bunch of times, right? Like, this is LA. In LA, the powers that be will have your back against the wall when you live in here and you're not like checking in with the right motherfuckers. So I looked out and saved Sean Kingston a few times, right? Saved, and I do mean saved. And so in return, didn't even ask for it. I just had a record that, with this artist I was working on. And I told him to come to the studio after the club. And he was like, I didn't force him to. I was like, yo, we can go knock that record out after this. We in the section chilling. He said he was going after the club. And so I know you've been on Hollywood Boulevard and went all the way up to the 101, and you can't necessarily get on going back to the valley. You have to curve around and be on Cahuenga for a minute.
Turn.
And then you get on the freeway, but then you can stay on Cahuenga or get on the freeway. Well, I got on the freeway. Sean Kingston was supposed to be following me, but then when I got on the freeway, he got over real quick and I guess ghosted me. And so I was kind of salty about that, because all he had to do was say, I'll do it another time, or I don't want to do it or whatever, but don't do no goofy shit. So he did that. So I said, the next time I see Sean Kingston, I'm gonna beat his ass. So I saw him and I was on the fence about it because we were in a club and it was the homies club, and I just was like, Meek was there, and I had went over to Meek and I had told Meek, I'm like, yo, man, I got some static with Sean. So you and your guys, like, if anything pop off, I don't know how it's gonna go. If anything pop off, y'all should just know what's up. You know what I'm saying? So Meek was like, good looking. This was Meek's first time, like, back in LA off papers. So I didn't want him in the middle of that shit because of his case. So I was just looking out, you know what I'm saying? And so some shit went left, and Sean Kingston ended up getting, trampled and getting his jewelry snatched and whatnot. Not by me, obviously. But after that, Sean Kingston called, my homie AR, rest in peace. And he was just like, Meek told me that, Game was plotting on me. And I was like, that's crazy, because I didn't tell Meek I was plotting on nobody. I just told him, like, this ain't a situation you want to be in if you just got all papers. And so I felt like Meek, kind of like, snitched on some shit. And, long story short, that shit got, misconstrued and whatever. And Meek ended up, it didn't happen the way that I thought it happened. So, but at that time I did. And so I went in, on wax, and again, it was up. And so at that, I don't know what would have happened if I saw Meek during that time, because that's just how I am. Like, I'm an in-person person, but he ended up going to jail.
Well, didn't you actually go to Philly and like roll around Philly looking for Meek?
Yeah, I wasn't looking for him. I was just in Philly.
You're on your bullshit, basically.
Yeah, I was on my bullshit in Philly, just fucking around and shit on tour. Just made a pit stop in Philly, got a cheesecake and a cheesesteak, and was just, I didn't actually think I was gonna see Meek Mill outside.
Right.
But long story short, he went to jail.
Yeah.
And again, we don't do the police, jail, none of that shit. So the beef sort of fizzled out because he went to jail, and I didn't support him going to jail at all. I don't like shit like that.
That was some bullshit that you went
So
to jail
yeah,
for. Anyways,
so
yeah.
when it was one of those things like Thug, like when you get one of those prosecutors or one of those judges that just want to see you go down, like that's what you're fighting against. So Meek got out, Wack put us on the phone. We talked for about an hour, me, him, and Tok and Tack, and we just squashed the shit. And he was like, you know, I'm gonna move to the West and be in the West more. I definitely don't want to have beef with the biggest nigga on the West. And I was like, man, ain't no beef. We don't got no beef no more. And like, man, we put it down. Now I talk to Meek at least once or twice a month, and we talk about like, you know, the streets and prison reform and these kids and things that we could do to just be better men, better artists, and, you know, better legendary people, and not bringing the culture down and sort of kind of lift it up. And that's just where we are. And not being, you know, shitted on by labels and, you know, getting your master stolen and all that shit. Just regular conversation. So me and Meek good too.
Good. The dope artist, by the way. I've always been a fan of Meek.
Meek is Meek.
We've never met in
Yeah.
person. We've been around each other, but we never actually met. And I've always thought he was dope. I've always thought his flow was always
And
exceptional.
I'm glad that him and Ross are, you know, back locked in, at least, you know, for guys like us. That means a lot. Not that they weren't ever locked in, but it's glad to see him doing music. And I love when things come, you know, full circle.
Yep. Then next year, 2017, you got into it at a basketball game again. This time with an off-duty officer.
Yeah, man, I got to stop playing basketball.
You end up punching him at one point?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And you end up getting basically probation?
I was trying to do whatever I had to do to not go back to jail. Because like I said, when you go to jail in this position, man, it's just not cool, man. So I didn't care what money I had to pay or what I had to do. But yeah, I ended up getting probation, which was worse. I think I might have taken whatever jail time and not got probation, because going to report bi-weekly and piss in cups and sit down and be interviewed about what you're doing when you ain't really doing shit for, I think it was 3.5 years, might have been 5. I don't fucking know.
Oh yeah, you had 120 hours community service. You had to do 26 anger management counseling sessions.
Yeah, them was crazy.
I bet.
Because I'm still a little bit angry. No, I'm kidding. No, I had you know what? My anger management counselor teacher was a wonderful lady named Maria, man. She was so dope. And she actually did help me with anything underlining anger wise that I had. And she helped like disband all of that. And so she helped me like figure out how to deal with anger in several different alternative directions versus just being angry as fuck and not knowing where to do, where to place it, except in this violence box. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't think I've been mad since.
Really? So you think that actually helped?
It definitely
You're
helped.
saying this is a new game that we're talking to now?
Yeah, it's definitely the new game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so then next year, 2019, you put out your 9th album, Born to Rap. Debuted 19 on the Billboard. You got Ed Sheeran on this album.
Yeah, man. Get some right out. Hey, man, we just be doing music.
You really pull out the craziest guest appearances. You got Ed fucking Sheeran on there, as well as 21 Savage, Chris Brown again, you know, Mozzie, and Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, man.
Only for Nipsey Hussle to get killed that same year on March 31st. I was in LA. I've interviewed Nipsey before. We've run into each other, had conversations. We were supposed to do another interview, but you know, whoever messed it up, you know, on the label side. I've always admired Nipsey a lot. I remember how LA felt on that day when you heard the news. Because remember, in the beginning, you didn't know that he was dead. You heard about the shooting.
Right.
But you're like, okay, people get shot. You've gotten shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Pac got shot for the first time. People in hip hop, people feel like you survive after that first shooting.
I feel like when you get shot, if you're not dead, when you get shot and you don't die immediately, that you're gonna be all right. That's just how I feel.
And that's the news. Okay, Nipsey's gotten shot, but you know, the ambulance are coming, like, okay, look, he's gonna make it.
Right. Cause the homies was right there. You know, my homie Sonic just happened to be ironically passing down Crenshaw as it was transpiring. He was like, and he stopped and got out of his car. He's like, yo, they just shot Nip. And I'm like, what you mean they just shot Nip? Like, what do you mean they just shot Nip? I don't even understand that because I wasn't in hip hop when Tupac died.
Yeah.
But this felt like that.
Yeah.
And Nip was my homie. Nip was my homie, like my homie. Like I met Nip before he was a rapper in my car with him passing me his demo and then me bringing him to the studio and getting on songs to like help him elevate.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
So yeah. So I knew Nip before that. And I knew Nip before he even started rapping when he had the Jerry curl Nip and he was like slanging incense. Nip was just hustling on Crenshaw. I would always pass down Crenshaw because that's where the chicks was. You got a dope car, you go down Crenshaw. And so when I got that news, man, I walked outside. I sat on the stairs, that lead down to my pool. And I just looked at the sky and I want to say I prayed that he would just pull through. And I Googled Nipsey, and no reports of him even getting shot yet. So I was early on the news. And I mean, maybe 5 to 7 minutes later, man, TMZ and CBS and shit just started going down the line and Nipsey got shot. Still wasn't saying he was dead though. I don't think it was till he got to the hospital, maybe like an hour or two after it that, they came out and said that Nip had died. And I could just remember shedding genuine tears, man, because I just did not understand that, especially due to the fact that we was just at Chalice in the parking lot. He was in there fucking with Hit Boy and I was in there working on some shit. And we just was talking in the parking lot, leaning on a Maybach, talking about how to elevate from the shit that would render you helpless. And so for him to die in the manner that he did, in the hood that he came from, the way that he put on for that neighborhood and that city and how much he put into wanting it to be more than what it was devastating to me, man. It was devastating to me.
I mean, he was Crenshaw. I just interviewed a rapper that came in all Crenshaw gear. Like he was Crenshaw, and it happened right there in front of his own store with all his friends by someone he knew.
That was
part of the same overall gang that he was in.
That was the irony, man.
Shitty cuz.
Yeah, the nip shit, man. Still to this day, it ain't right. Went to the funeral, it wasn't right. It just felt like it was a Nipsey funeral, but don't feel like it was a funeral for Nip. I just don't feel like, man, that Nip should be dead right now. I don't feel like that. In my heart of hearts, I just do not feel like Nipsey Hussle should be dead, man. I just don't feel like it. And that at that point, it almost makes you stop giving a fuck for a quick second, right? Because this is somebody this is somebody who you had a hand in helping them rise. This is somebody who was a good fucking person, who was intelligent, smart, and was for the people. And it made me feel exactly like how maybe Snoop felt when Pac died. It made me feel exactly how somebody felt when Martin Luther King died. And people might see this interview and say, you comparing Nip to Martin Luther King? Yes, I am.
There's a comparison to that.
Yeah,
in fact, Nip had a Malcolm X chain that he used to wear all the time. Yeah.
And when you look at Nip from the beginning until, he died, the things that he was saying, the things that he was uncovering, the things that he was preaching about, the things that he would rap about, it was all elevation, not just for him, but for everybody that listened and everybody that was around him. So it does have a Malcolm X vibe to it. It does have a Martin Luther King reminiscent tone to it. It is like Tupac, and he should be respected and legendary and all of that shit. And I told Wack that. When Wack, sometimes Wack be saying some shit and I be like, nah, man, this is my opinion. And we butt heads over shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, Nip, I don't want to hear nobody talking down on what Nip was, his early demise, and because he only put out that one album that he wasn't gonna be this or gonna be that. You'd have to know Nip to know Nip, and that's just where I'm gonna leave it. That shit wasn't right. It ain't right. It don't feel right today with me sitting here. So yeah.
The prolific tattoo on your face, you did that after Nip died?
Yeah, for sure.
He had the same thing, right?
Yeah, I had to.
And then don't you have a portrait of him?
Yeah, I got Nip right here
on your chest.
Yep.
I mean, that just shows how important he was to you. He's a permanent part of you at this point.
He was important to me. He was important to my children. He was important to LA, the world, as you see how, you know, huge of an impact his death was on the world. And he's important, definitely important to his family, his children, and he's still important. He's always going to be important, man. And that's just Nip.
Yeah, I mean, I remember after he died, Kodak Black had made some comments about Lauren London.
Yeah,
saying he wants to get over there, and you went off on that. And once again, you had, not to say you had anything to do with this, but later on when Kodak came to LA and he got shot, the word was it had something to do with those foul comments that he made about Nipsey. Like I said, I'm not saying you had anything to do with it.
But again, man,
this is what the streets were saying.
I didn't like his remarks. I didn't like his remarks at all, and especially not with Nip not being here. I feel like if Nip was here, I don't know if he would have did that. And again, man, I got a lot of respect for Kodak, man. I got a lot of respect for Kodak. I could see through him. I know who's inside of Kodak. I know the kid that's inside of him, man. And he got a good heart, and he make good music, and he a good dude at heart, man. So again, I don't got no ill nothing towards Kodak. I like his music. I really appreciated him on Kendrick's album, and I seen him recently taking some, you know, hits online for, you know, how he may have looked or what he might have been on or whatever. But
it seemed like he was intoxicated off something. Yeah,
it may be, but his prerogative. But but regardless of his state, is his state. Right, yeah. Not nobody else's, and I'm pretty sure at the end of the day he appreciates the concern. But you know, for me, man, let that man live his life the way he want to live it, man. We all out here trying to figure it out.
Well, it was a rough year because right after Nipsey died, Kobe dies, and the number 8 tattoo over your eyes because of Kobe, right?
Right.
Did you know him at all?
Yeah, I knew Kobe, man.
Okay, sorry. I don't know the relationship.
Yeah, nah, it's all good. Nah, Kobe was on speed dial, man. And I would talk to Kobe every now and then, man, but just about like how you doing, how the kids doing, how the music, you getting, you know, new music. And he would always, it's true what they say that the mama mentality is a real thing. Because when you talk to Kobe, it's sort of like almost talking to like the Michael Jackson. It's Kobe, man. Yeah. Even though I knew Kobe from, you know, early on in my career, this is 20 years ago. So Kobe was still the young Kobe. Like I knew the Fro Kobe and, you know, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I was in LA trying to get on and Kobe was like doing his thing. And even before I really got into rap, I met Kobe. So it's just like when I got into rap, Kobe was like, hella supportive of my albums, and he would always play them. They would always play higher when he scored, and whenever Kobe scored in the Staples Center, they would play higher. Okay. And he would always hit me and let me know how motivating my albums were for his workouts and shit like that. And I think one time somebody like tried to call me on some shit and say that what I was saying wasn't what was said, and then Kobe tweeted like it's facts. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I was driving home from the studio. It was foggy as shit that morning because I couldn't even see on the freeway. So one of my homies hit me, was like, "You heard about Kobe?" I'm not thinking that they're even talking about Kobe, and I don't even know another Kobe. But I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, you know, what's up?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think Kobe died." And I'm like, it's one of those things where I pulled the fucking car over I got off the 101 and I pulled over in front and parked at the 7-Eleven and I sat there. Again, you know what I did? I went straight to the internet. I Googled. Nobody was saying nothing. And I waited again, another 5 minutes, and then boom, TMZ. And it started going around. And I can remember shedding real tears again. I just couldn't believe it. That shit was surreal because it was Kobe fucking Bryant. And again, this is another guy that you for sure thought would just be, I don't know, as old as Bill Russell when you see him at Laker games 30, 40 years from now. And yeah, man.
I mean, I was living, you know, where I was living in Calabasas at the time was literally down the street from where the crash happened. So we went down there and we hung out with the fans as far as we could walk and just had a moment, you know. And, you know, recently I interviewed Joe Smith, who played with Kobe and LeBron and Kevin Durant and Allen Iverson and Kevin Garnett. And he said that Kobe's hunger was just different.
I think he had a different hunger. I mean, we all see it and we all can kind of tell. But like it was from I played with Kevin Garnett, I played with Kevin Durant, I played with LeBron twice, I played with AI, and his hunger was different. And I can't put a finger on what it was, but it's just how his will not to lose was just different. I mean, he come in and just instruct how he instruct practice, how he goes through practice, his knowledge of the game and what he expects defenses to do to him. So he's prepared when he sees it out there on the floor. I mean, there's a whole different preparation that he has for the game that you see anywhere else.
You didn't need nobody to tell you that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, but he's played with all the greats.
Right.
The pantheon, of these great basketball players. He just said that Kobe was just different because he played with Kobe on the Lakers as well. He said Kobe's hunger was just different than all the other greats that you mentioned. And it was, it was like a sad 12 months in LA, essentially.
It was.
Okay, so then that same year you dropped AI with Braids.
Yeah.
Speaking of AI, with Lil Wayne on it. And then a couple years later, 2022, you and Kanye started working together.
Yeah.
What led up to that?
That nigga just walked in the studio out of nowhere. Crazy. And the crazy part about it is, let me tell you this shit. I was on my way to the studio. Do a lot of recording at Chalice, and that's just my home studio. Shout out to Sandra and the whole team there. They're amazing. Love them to death. I was driving to the studio, and I saw a nigga that I thought looked like Kanye just walking down Highland. But I was like, fuck no. It's not Kanye, bro. It's not Kanye, bro. So I went to the studio, and I started working, and I swear, bro, like 20 minutes later, the dude that I saw walking down Highland with that outfit on walked in the studio, and it was Kanye. So Ye was just walking down Highland, bro, to the studio. And I asked him about it, and he was just like, I don't know. That's literally what he said. He's just like, I don't know. I just left the hotel and started walking. And he was like, he put the studio in his navigation. But you ever put the something in your navigation that gives you the walking directions? But you never fucking use the walking directions, right?
Right. He actually walked.
He walked. He used the walking directions in the maps, bro. I see the little man, but I'm never actually gonna walk, even if it's, But yeah, Ye, man, Ye is a special guy, man. So he walked to the studio. I just happened to be playing Easy, and he was like, I want to get on this. And so we wrote him a verse, and he got on.
That was the Easy song, which samples Easy Does It.
Mm-hmm. But again, it goes back to Tamika clearing stuff. Like, she's always, I, even though I never met her personally, like, I love her for the things that she's done. After Eric's passing.
Right, because that led up to your 11th album, Drillmatic, Heart vs. Mind, which was executive produced by Hit Boy and Kanye West.
Yeah.
Chloe Bailey shows up on it, A$AP Rocky, Meek Mill shows up on it, Big Sean, YG. Now, what happened to the NBA Youngboy feature?
I think NBA Youngboy tried to I've never paid for a feature in my whole career. I'm game. I've never paid for a feature.
Have you ever charged people for features?
I think I've get paid for features, but it's never been like in hip hop. It's probably been like some, overseas artists or, some label stuff. Yeah. I'm never charging nobody that I'm a fan of or that I have worked with or nobody that's in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So, I think they came back and they wanted like 200 or 300,000 or something.
I read 150,000.
Oh, shit.
Still a lot of money.
If it's 150, it might as well be 300. You know what I'm saying? But instantly I was like, just take it off the album. I'm not paying that. And I don't know if it was him because I talked to Youngboy on the phone before we did the record. And it was, he was cool. And also Youngboy came to LA a few times and, he was, one time he was uncomfortable. And, I sent Squadron over there to hold him down and make sure he was good and, extract. Mm-hmm. And it was all good. He was thankful for that. And he displayed his gratitude when he came to studio with Kevin Gates one time, came to my studio, and it was all good. So I thought it was all good. So I don't know if it was him or his management or whatever, but it ain't no nothing. I don't feel no way about it. At the end of the day, You got to realize shit is business. He has children,
A lot of children.
more than me.
Way
So
more than
yeah,
you.
maybe what he charges what he charge, and that's what he get. And yeah, he should charge what he feels like he should charge. I'm just not paying for that shit. So again, no animosity about that.
Well, that album also had the Black Slim Shady,
Yeah, man.
where you dissed Eminem for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he responded.
He responded. Our game can always get him to respond, man. It
Right.
must, it must strike chords, man.
And then when you did Drink Champs, you said Kanye did more for me in 2 weeks than Dre did throughout my entire career.
Right.
Do you feel that's a fair statement?
I feel like I was on Drink Champs, and you should just understand that the
You were
first word in Drink Champs is drink.
You were drinking.
I was drinking, but at the end of the day, I feel like at that time, man, Ye was doing a lot for me that he didn't necessarily have to do. And Ye has always been there for me, and always had my back. And what I can say about Dre is Dre ain't always had my back. And for good reason. Like Dre has to protect the interests of Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times when Ye had to protect the interests of Ye, but he just didn't give a fuck. He'd rather just go to bat for me. So basically that was just, the premise of what I was saying. I was just speaking my truth. It was my truth because I got to protect the interests of game. And so it was how I felt. I'm pretty sure that when Dre heard it, he didn't feel slighted. He knew where it was coming from because I talked to him, I don't know, every so often. So it wasn't like I just was picking on Dre. He understood. He should have, and I know that he understood where that came from when I said it. And if I saw Dr. Dre today, I don't think that he would feel a way about what I said today. I feel like he would understand and he knows where it came from and that we would just, give each other that dap and that hug and shit would just go on. But that's my relationship with Dr. Dre. I don't give a fuck about what nobody on the internet who don't know either one of us feel. I really don't. And you're not me. You're not walking in my Air Force Ones, and you don't have a relationship with Dr. Dre that you wish you did, but you just can't be me. So I got to speak for me, and I'm going to speak my truth no matter who it affects. I'm going to say what I got to say.
So there was rumors that there was a part of the Kim K, Ray J sex tape that was still unreleased. And Wack, got on the internet and said, I gave Kanye back these unreleased tapes.
Right.
And since Wack is your manager, people felt like, okay, Kanye jumping on the song with you and executive producing your album was sort of like a thank you back to Wack.
What?
You see what I'm saying?
Man, Wack don't rap, man.
Yeah, but he manages you.
Yeah, but like Wack is more like my brother. Like I'm like at the crib. If I need to record, I need to record. Like Wack manages things that need to be managed when it's time to manage shit. It's not like an artist manager type of thing. It's like that's my brother. It's like I can manage myself. Right. Wack can manage himself. Wack manages to fuck shit up a lot too for himself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Wack should manage himself. Maybe I should manage Wack.
You should manage Wack?
But yeah, what I'm saying is that my relationship with Kanye has nothing to do with Wack. I knew Ye long before Wack. I knew before Wack even was ever cool with Ye. Me and Ye had our thing. So one had nothing to do with the other, man.
Thanks for clearing that up. This meeting happened because of Wack. By the way,
Wack does.
This interview happened.
He does.
Me and Wack didn't talk for 10 years. We got on the phone. It was like, all right, this is some 10-year-old bullshit. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
We got it worked out, and he's here right now.
I don't even remember ever not being cool with you.
No, it wasn't between me and you.
Oh, it was between
me and Wack.
Oh yeah. You don't got nothing to be scared of, man.
Exactly.
Wack is a teddy bear.
We all worked it out. And then because of the comments that you made about Dr. Dre, then 50 made a comment, and then that turned into a whole other thing yet again.
Yeah. But yeah, 50 again, man, they're all like 50, Jimmy Iovine, Eminem, Rosenberg, like they're all loyal to each other. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I'm loyal to me. And that's just it. At the end of the day, everybody that is involved from Rosenberg to M to 50 to Dr. Dre, Everybody know where they slighted game, and everybody knows when I'm defending myself and where it's coming from. Nobody's blindsided by the shit that I do. The parties that are involved, they're not blindsided. Maybe the internet is, or maybe it seems like game is not being grateful to people who don't know what the fuck is going on. But at the end of the day, you're one at in the comments. You have no fucking idea what's going on behind closed doors. And so let's just keep it a buck and say, you don't know me, you don't know them. I know me and I know them, and we have relationships that have gone on for over 2 decades. So just kindly just shut the fuck up and let it unravel.
And there's literally, you could say, hundreds of millions of dollars that are at play in terms of all these relationships.
Right.
When you start to add it all up together.
There's
hundreds of millions of dollars, if not probably bordering on the $1 billion mark.
There's where my interests and their interests differ. They play for money, and I just play for authenticity. I don't want to be, I've never in my career wanted to be a billionaire. If I did want to be a billionaire, I would just go be a billionaire. There's a million ways to Elon Musk your way to the top of life. Like if you really want to, you can.
I heard is it true that you canceled the tour because you were in the middle of an NBA 2K tournament?
Oh yeah.
Which kind of coincides with what you're saying.
Bro, I don't chase money, man. I don't chase money. I chase
You've
life.
never really been the money guy like that.
I don't.
But you've always had money. You've never been broke. You've always had money, but you've never been like, oh, let me start a liquor company and let me start a clothing line. And
you know why though? You've been in the industry long enough. Have you seen the aura and energy of the people that are the richest? They're fucking miserable. They're bored. They jump off buildings. They commit suicide. There's always some.
Jay seems pretty happy.
Who?
Jay-Z.
That's one guy. How many billionaires are there though? In the world though?
In the world, there's a handful.
There's divorces. Their families is fucking up. Their daughters doing porn. Like that shit is not money. You know, it's like Biggie said it, man. Like more money, more problems. I understood it back then, and I really understand it now because it causes division in family, friendships. It fucks up everything. So if that's your focal point, in some way, shape, or form, you're gonna end up fucking life. If you just chasing money, like before you know it, you fucking 80 years old, and guess what your money's doing?
Well, speaking of money, the whole lawsuit situation that you got hit with, that still hasn't gotten worked out.
Yeah, probably won't ever.
Yeah.
I'm broke.
You're broke.
Yeah, I don't have a dime.
Yep.
It's a borrowed shirt.
Yeah.
Borrowed glasses.
All the cars are someone else's.
Wave cap was on a dude at 7-Eleven.
You live at someone else's home.
Yeah, man.
It just is what it is.
Air Force Ones from the How We Do video.
That's the same ones.
Just wipe them down. They got the shoe cleaner in the middle of the mall,
right.
man.
So that situation you don't think will ever get worked out?
I don't know, man. But I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I don't wake up I don't think about that until somebody brings it up. I just know that you're not going to rob me.
Well, from what I understand, the reason why that even happened was because you didn't show up to court.
I had an orthodontic surgery, like where I couldn't show up. It wasn't a game. It was a real thing. And I was in Century City having an orthodontic surgery, and I just couldn't. It was an emergency surgery. I could not fly. And so because of that, the judge gave a judgment.
A default judgment.
Gave a default judgment, and it is what it is. It's not like I lost the case. And had I shown up to court, it would have been thrown out because it was completely, just utterly ludicrous, man. It was just like...
Yeah, man, I hate the way the court system works in America. I honestly do. And I've been sued before, and I've had to settle for shit that I didn't do.
You got to go get a lawyer and spend $10,000 just to be not guilty.
I spent $75,000 just to settle.
I'll spend millions.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll spend millions on lawyers, man.
Yeah. I hate the way the legal system here works.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. Are you still upset that you weren't part of the Super Bowl?
Nah, I don't think I don't think
it would have been dope to see you there.
I don't think I was upset. I think that I was just like I was shocked a little bit because I had talked to Dre. I talked to Dre regularly, and so I was shocked that it never crossed his mind to just have Game participate in the Super Bowl, being that the Rams were in the Super Bowl, being that it was an LA Super Bowl, and being that it was a Dr. Dre thing. Yeah. It wasn't until later I figured out that it was Rock Nation, like Jay-Z.
Jay-Z put it together. Yeah, you're right.
So Jay-Z put it together. And so wires got crossed somewhere, or maybe they just did it the way that they fucking wanted to do it, and they didn't want to include game, and that's a pill that I should have swallowed a little bit better than I did. But I don't really swallow pills well to this day.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, having you there instead of Mary J. Blige would have just logistically made more sense. No shot. This is not a shot at Mary J. Blige.
I was about to say, man, don't shoot it on
No. She has a hit song with Dr. Dre,
right?
But she was never on Aftermath. He never like was doing her whole albums and everything else like that. I can understand how, okay, it's nice to have a female and everything else like that. But I'm saying, if you're really a hip hop purist and you look at what they're doing, which is really based on Dr. Dre, it was a homage to Dre and his legacy. It would have made more sense to have Game as opposed to Mary J. Blige.
Right.
That's my opinion. Like I said, no shot at Mary J. Blige. She's a legend.
If it was me, I wouldn't have replaced Mary. You know what I'm saying? I just would have.
I'm saying it.
In addition, I would have just had Game. It only makes sense.
Because they had Kendrick there. You can't just say, "Oh, this is just older artists," because Kendrick is younger than you.
I've done a lot for this. I've done a lot for the city. I've done a lot for the culture. I've done a lot for LA rap. And at the end of the day, it wasn't my Super Bowl. It was Dre's, and it was Jay-Z's, and they made the decisions they wanted to make, and we square now. I don't even fuck about that.
Last question. Tupac was a very pivotal figure in both of our lives.
Right.
The mixtape that put me in the hip hop game was the Tupac Rap Phenomenon mixtape. Tupac was a huge influence on who you are and how your career went and some of the decisions you've made along the way. How do you feel now that Keefe D has been arrested for his involvement in the Tupac murder?
I feel like the individual that killed Tupac is dead.
Right.
So arresting Keefe D after all this time for his role or his not role in, the death of Tupac, pointless to me, because the person that killed Tupac got murdered.
Yeah,
and if you're from Compton or you're from LA and you're as deep in the streets as I am, then you know what's up.
Yeah, I've known about the Orlando story.
Who killed Tupac, who killed Biggie is no mystery to niggas that live in LA, man.
Biggie, I don't know. I'll be honest.
We gonna keep you in the not know. And
you can keep me in the not know. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But the Tupac story I've known for a good 15 years.
Yeah.
And listen, I did the interview with Keefe that basically laid out the whole story, but this was after he already wrote a book about it.
Right.
But
you don't think that they didn't know that Keefe D was there, had anything to do with it?
They knew the whole time. He had already testified. He had already confessed to it.
Right.
In the proffer agreement.
But his deal with them people ran out, and now they feel like they need a scapegoat. I don't fucking know. Who knows?
Well, I think it comes down to publicity.
Publicity.
Everybody, like I have police security that tell me, like NYPD security that say that they go into meetings and the chief of police say, okay, these are the stories that are on social media. We're going to focus on these ones, and the other ones we'll get to them when we get to them. So the millions of views that the interview got and all the other interviews he did put it on Las Vegas's radar, and here we are.
So you got him arrested.
Well, I mean, my interview, I'm sure has some sort of contribution to it, but he decided to do the interview. If you're going to be involved in a murder and you want to write a book about it, I don't have a problem interviewing you about it.
Yeah.
It's not like I dug up the story.
So basically, he got his self-rap.
I think most people would say that.
Talking too much. Yeah. I mean, again, man, Keefe D, Compton, the history of it, I like to just leave it where it is, man. And yeah, but I don't think it does. I don't think it does anything arresting him at this point.
Have you ever met Keefe D?
Nah.
You ever met Orlando?
I seen Orlando when I was younger because we got some mutuals. But I was younger. I was younger than them. But yeah. Compton ain't that big.
Right, so, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Compton is Compton.
Yep.
Well, Game, our first serious interview in our 20-year relationship.
20 years, man.
20 years. 2 decades.
Yeah, man.
And here we still are, man. We're still in great shape. We have families.
Yeah.
We live comfortably. Our families live comfortably. We're still making an impact.
And we
in
happy,
this,
man.
You know, in this thing, and we're still happy. We're still standing. A lot of people tried to tear us down over the years, and it didn't work.
Yeah, nah, it definitely didn't, man. And you know, love to all the people that got torn down by this wretched industry, because you know this shit, man. We've been in this a long time. And this is why, like, the way that hip hop is now and these new artists, man, I look at them and I just be like, man, y'all have no idea what it took for the state of hip hop to be what it is now, like how it got here. You know?
I mean, Gabe, man, listen, regardless of what anyone says, you saved the West Coast at one point. The West Coast, you know, could have ended up like some of these cities where the spotlight was very bright on them, and then these days it's just not bright at all.
Well, I don't think nobody saved it after me. It hasn't been saved again. It just been
Kendrick.
saved. It wasn't saved. Like I was still, again.
I see what you're saying.
Here's the thing, man. When Kendrick came out, you like the timeline that you read off, you know,
Right.
on your
It
laptop.
was on your album.
I know, but I was still #1 on Billboard.
Yeah.
When Kendrick came out. So it's not it didn't need saving at that point. What it was a carrying of the torch. And I think that's one thing that you missed when we went down there to LA Live and we was on stage with Kendrick and me and Snoop passed the torch because he was deserving of that.
Yeah.
But it didn't need to be saved. It needed to be saved after Pac died.
Yeah.
Because it died. So again.
Yeah, and you said at one point that you thought that your beef with 50 was going to end the way Pac and Big.
I didn't give a fuck if it did or not.
Well, I'm glad it did it.
Yeah, I mean, at this
I'm glad it did it.
At this point, we all glad it did.
I'm glad it did it because both of y'all are still striving. Both of y'all still doing well. Both of y'all have fans. And, I've always been a fan since day one. Since the first time I heard you, I'm like, yo, this dude is dope. I'm going to fuck with him in whatever way makes sense at the time. And look at this, 20 years later, we're still fucking with each other.
And you're doing big productions now, man. And I just remember DJ Vlad, the actual guy that knew how to DJ.
DJ.
Not saying you don't know how to DJ no more.
I probably don't. It's been a while.
At any point, do you drop the DJ and just be Vlad or no?
Well, I mean, DJ Academics hasn't dropped his DJ. DJ Khaled hasn't dropped his
Academics,
DJ. It just becomes part of the brand. You know what I'm saying? But I actually am a real DJ and I have real awards behind my mixtapes. I've really done tours around the world and we've done projects together and so forth. So yeah.
So then peace
I'm gonna keep the DJ.
DJ K Slay, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, DJ K Slay, man.
Justo.
Yeah, who put me on originally.
Justo.
A lot of people, man. A lot of people. Like, so many of our greats have been lost along the way.
Life be lifing, man.
Like we said, like Nipsey, me and Pop Smoke talked right before he died.
Same.
Mo 3, I interviewed him. Young Greatness, Shinks Drugs. The amount of young black men that I have interviewed that have died violently is heartbreaking when I start to actually list them out. Because it's literally in the dozens now.
Yeah.
It's literally in the dozens. And they all left way too early under fucked up situations over just hatred and jealousy and a whole bunch of nothing that didn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, my son got killed and you get killed trying to get revenge. No, it was just a bunch of jewelry,
bullshit, man.
Jealousy, money, girls, usually it's girls.
Yeah, man.
Over a bunch of bullshit, man. And after everything that you've went through, you're still standing and you're still doing well, man. I'm truly happy for you.
Love, man.
That's how we're going to end it.
Yeah.
Peace.